Reviews.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into our Georgia Elite Classic, the big matchup coming up, the class of 2026. The freshmen taking on the class of 2025, those elite sophomores. We're going to get ready to get going here in just a moment. You see right now the starting lineups being announced, or really the full rosters being announced. Both these teams getting a chance to come over and line up. They'll face each other, but also have their name kind of ring out here at Barron Stadium, one of the historic venues for high school football across the state of Georgia, and a great home for us each and every year for this terrific event. And I don't know, it feels like a long time since I've gotten a chance to speak to our audience here in this situation. We do this every week during the fall, then you take a little break for Christmas, and it feels like it's been a long time since we've been doing this. So, Rusty, I'm happy to be back with you again, and happy to be doing some high school football here. The final time we'll do this here for the year of 2022.
This is the headliner. Make no mistake about it. We've had some tremendous football games, but you start looking toward the future. But I'll say this, Brandon. This was a Chamber of Commerce day in Floyd County.
Beautiful.
It was 71 degrees at 4 o'clock. It's been beautiful. Last week at this time, it was 9 degrees. So we're very thankful for that. But I'll tell you this group right here is one of the strongest freshmen and sophomore. This is not really going to be about wins and losses here, but I want you to really dig in and watch these kids, because if you're a fan of Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, North Carolina, Clemson, there's a lot of kids right here that's going to be on those rosters in 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so help me understand this, or help our audience understand this, because if you're a casual person kind of tuning in, you might want to assume, well, it's actually the juniors and seniors where something like this would be more true for. Why is it so important for these players at this age to begin making the name for themselves? What it is about the recruiting timeline that puts so much emphasis on this point in time in their high school
careers?
It's
so sped up. So what I met individually with each team, and I told that freshman team, this is the first game of your sophomore season. I told that sophomore team, this is the first game of your junior season. This is what starts the next year for you, calendar year. So, it's sped up so much in recruiting. A lot of these kids have offers. The sophomore team, I think, has 19 kids with offers. Freshman team has 3 or 4 kids with offers. And when you look at this class of 2026 in the red, the freshman team, you're going to see them next year. When they come up here, these guys are going to have this. The red is actually the sophomores. The red is actually the sophomores, so the green's are freshmen. And you see that Parkview helmet right there. That's Zealous Hicks. Started this year as a freshman defensive back, has offers. They say he is going to be the next big-time prospect at Parkview.
And the people that have been saying that are guys like Mike Matthews and other big-time star players who themselves already have plenty of recruiting credentials. They are some of the ones who've been really touting Hicks to give you an idea of how much of a star player he has a chance to be in this game we're about to see.
You see 6'8" right there, number 60. That is Nick Brooks. He is 6'8", 320 pounds as a 16-year-old sophomore. And when I call that grown, that is grown.
No doubt, that is fully grown all the way. And you also touched on something a moment ago that I think it's important for our audience to understand, which is what you're seeing tonight here on Peachtree TV is the game itself, and yet there have been practices going on throughout the week here.
Yes.
What has that experience been like, kind of getting ready for this game? Because we think about, say, maybe our audience familiar with, like, say, the Senior Bowl or something like that, where your chance to make a name for yourself in those situations is really through the practices almost as much as it might be through the game.
Yeah, so you get a chance to eval. What I like about this game here, it doesn't matter what high school you're from, doesn't matter what classification you're from. You're on a team tonight. You're getting to compete around the state. You'll see kids from single A private all the way to 7A, and that's kind of the evaluation. Chad Simmons, National Recruiting Director of On3, he spent 2 days here watching guys. A lot of media here tonight. See big Christian Garrett right there for Prince. Listen, single A Christian Garrett, 2025 defensive lineman. He's had a really good week against some of these guys, and if he finished off his season with a state championship, played really good in that fourth quarter. Got a great story on him I'll tell later about me giving his invite right after the state championship game to the Georgia Elite Classic. Remind me to bring that back up as we get started.
I love that. So Leo Addard, he has the kickoff there. Addard, the kicker from Cambridge, coming over. We'll explain some of the rules here as it becomes relevant. And one thing to kind of touch on here is we're not going to do live special teams. You're going to see linemen back there trying to catch these kicks and things like that, which is actually part of the fun in a situation like this. But a lot of the rules will be a little bit different. There won't be the live kicks in terms of the special teams playing that role. We'll also do a version of the NFL rules with like 2-minute warnings and things like that. So, Rusty, feel free to jump in and give us an update on some of this rule stuff that might be a different version of the sport than the typical Friday night stuff that we do as a part of our drive for the GHSA state title or our Corky Kell Classic to kick off the season.
You can mix your coverages, but you got to run a 4-3. You got to cannot blitz linebackers. We had one penalty earlier today, but you can roll your linebackers up, but no blitzing. See Parker there at East Paul. He's been great all week as well.
Yeah, that's Javen Parker, the running back there. Big numbers on the season from him, Edward E. Spalding. How about 1,048 yards rushing? So that gives you an idea of some of the talent level this sophomore 2025 team has.
The offensive coordinator is Fitzgerald head coach Tucker Pruitt. And I ran into Tucker last night, and he goes, man, how fun is this group right here to be around and call plays? He was excited to see these kids and get a chance to coach them.
No question about that. And, of course, you see pass caught there out of bounds near the 45-yard line. Nice job on that. Coming over Josiah Abdullah out of Woodward Academy. Abdullah comes up the catch. Good season for him there as well at Woodward Academy, and obviously picking up where he left off right here in this Georgia League Classic right now as well.
Has offers from Texas and a few other schools already, so tells you the type of player he is.
Of course, A.J. Hill, the quarterback we told you about in the open out of Houston County, that is your quarterback in the game right now. We'll see some quarterbacks rotating in and out of here, but Hill is certainly one to watch. Standing tall in the pocket, setting up the screen, and it's complete. Spinning down at the 45-yard line. Big collision there. Once again, able to make the catch is Josiah Abdullah. Second catch of the game for Abdullah.
As we go through some names here, I'll kind of go through some guys I see. But Abdullah definitely a guy that they're going to try to get the ball to tonight. Again, from Woodward Academy, 2025. Early offers, Texas, few others.
We saw him play as a freshman together 2 years ago. I really
yes.
liked what he did then.
Yes, that game last year. Same quarterback, A.J. Hill.
That's exactly right. Handoff here, midfield. Giving a chance to carry the football is Parker once again.
And this is what the freshman team right here has got to be able to do. They got to be able to stop the run, because at any point they are outmanned, probably 25, 30 pounds at positions.
Yeah, you can look across the board there, that offensive line, and sort of see what Rusty told you about earlier, just how big this group is. But it is third down. Parker, though, showing the burst. Takes a big hit, though. That's going to bring up fourth down.
Yeah, good job. You see Peyton Joseph right there, 56 from Peach County. He's got about 20 offers, Clemson, Georgia. And I could go on and on. I want to kind of give you, paint the picture of what's going on. But we got a fourth down right here already. Good job by the freshman defense. See if they can hold here.
So very impressive indeed.
So they're going to go, what we got? They're giving it to him. Are they giving it to him?
I guess they did. I thought he was stopped short. Yep. So apologies by me. I thought he had been stopped short, but they do give it to him.
Yep. So I think they thought it was fourth down as well, because they go Wildcat heavy. Yeah, it was Tommy LaFayette. They got a chance to come in and run the football. That's a running back out of Lambert. He was in kind of a Wildcat formation there. I'll tell you, Tucker Pruitt last night pulled me to the side. He mentioned two players, and that was one of them.
Okay.
He said, listen, there's some other guys that may have some names, but this young man right here, it can absolutely go.
You're talking about 573 yards rushing in the season. Obviously, it was a 10-2 year for Lambert, one of their best years in program history. So, clearly he was a big part of that. So it's 2nd and 5 now. Man goes in motion. Hill surveying the situation. Going to crank it up and throw towards the end zone. Man is there. Not able to connect, though.
Out there.
Trying to hit his target. Caden Adderhold, the wide receiver out of South Gwinnett. We may see him play two ways a little bit tonight.
Good job. Sam Ross here, defensive back from Pepperell. Yes, sir, my man.
The former Dragon like
yes,
that.
Sir, freshman. Coach Rick Hurst talks about him a lot, and he started this year as a freshman.
So the freshman team has gotten him to third down here again. Last time it resulted in a conversion.
They're way off in coverage.
Hill, handoff again. That's Parker again. Parker's going to be close to the first down.
Yeah, that's what as the freshman team was. Now listen, you got to we're going to rotate linemen, so they're not going to have to face 6'7", 6'8" all night. But you look at Big Mal Waldrop right there from Brookstone, right guard with the blue helmet. He's got offers early. Look at 66 right there, Mason Short, one of the top offensive tackles in the country. Just told me last night his next two visits are Alabama and Georgia. He's 6'7".
4th and short. They're going to go for it again. Another Wildcat type situation again, and straight ahead, getting the first down yardage. Tommy LaFayette once again out of Lambert. Second time tonight, he's been called on to do that, and he's been true both times.
Yeah, they just look at Big Evans right there. Mason Short, 66, just moving the pile.
Yeah, Mason Short's one of those guys that already seems to have a lot of recruiting momentum building around him.
Yeah. And he came in this game last year at about 6'5", about 240. And he comes back this year at 6'7", about 285.
It's Wildcat again for Lafayette. Lafayette crosses the 30. So this sophomore team right now content to keep it on the ground and use that big offensive line.
I'll tell you this, I knew they were going to be able to run the ball, but I'll tell you, as the freshman team comes onto the field, they got some playmakers at wide receiver.
Yeah.
So this is not going to be one of those games. I don't feel like they're going to suffocate and choke them out. You see Jeremy Avery there talking, Warner Robbins' coach right there, and he knew he had his hands full tonight, but they've got some playmakers, so.
A little bit of a jump that time. A.J. Hill back in the quarterback. The hard count may have gotten him to move.
Got offsides on green.
Encroachment to call against the defense.
One time, 5 yards.
So if you're just joining us, it's the 2026. By the way, we'll see our officials here presented by EndrickCars.com. Juan Torres, your referee. Tim Sagos, Al Paddlefold, Rhett Newton, Brian McMichael, Jeffrey Smith, Otis Lawrence. That's our officiating crew here for tonight. But this is our Georgia Elite Classic, final game of what's been a great day's worth of games here at Barron Stadium in Rome. You've got the 2026 class. Those are the freshmen. They're dressed in green, and it's the sophomore team of the football right now. They are dressed in red, representing the class of 2025. Here's Hill to throw. It is caught inside the 15-yard line there. Still fighting to sort of, that's a chance for the running back Parker to catch the football that time after carrying the ball a lot already today. Javen Parker out of East Paulding gets a chance to catch it.
I'm telling you, man, Parker's been – talked to Chris Hertzfield, head coach at East Paulding, and I talked to him today, and listen, this guy's – you want to talk about being able to use him on every down in offense. He can run between the tackles, and he can catch the ball in the backfield.
We are in the red zone here, presented by Chicken Salad Chick. Appreciate them being with us here today as a part of our Georgia Elite Classic. And by the way, Martavius Burrs out of Redan had an unbelievable hit that time, too. Handoff again. Here's Parker again, cutting free, shaking a man off, and getting inside the 5-yard line. Nice opening series for Parker at East Paulding.
Yeah, we'll go into the freshman defensive line here a little bit later. They got some kids with offers already as well, and again, it's not going to be this big of a mismatch all night, but when you have this particular starting five, it is a lot to deal with. You see Bryce Hudson right there at center. He's probably 6'4", 305 from Grayson.
It's Lafayette again as the Wildcat. 4th time he's done that here. Gets close to the goal line, but going to be stopped short.
Lafayette stopped just short of the goal line.
It'll bring up 2nd down. 2nd goal, by the way. No score here early. Georgia Elite Classic, freshmen against sophomores. Although the sophomore class trying to do something about that. Here's Lafayette out of Lambert. He's going to go straight to the end zone for a touchdown. 2025 class gets on the board first.
Yeah, good job there, just moving bodies. Bit impressed with him.
Yeah, no, he looked really good.
Yep.
Also a very Christmas theme going on here with our red jerseys, the green jerseys.
Let me tell you something. Boy, it has been, we had an issue this morning, but again, I want to thank River Ridge High School. We had an 8th grade group. The jerseys did not come in.
Is that right?
And River Ridge High School gave those young men about 50 or 60 jerseys to wear on the last night. So,
I mean, you know this better than anybody, Rusty, just how as the extra point try is through and good. That's Connor Deviney from out of Lubbock, who we saw in the playoffs earlier this year on Peachtree TV. Yep. He connects on the PAT, something he was perfect on during the season there for the Lions. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and keep the conversation going here. Glad to have you with us for some high school football, our final broadcast of the year here on Peachtree TV.
I'm attorney Ken Nugent. If you're hurt and trying to choose a law firm, here are some questions you need to ask. Can I sign up online? You can with us. Do they have their own app that allows me to handle all aspects of my case from home? We do. Have they developed artificial intelligence to maximize the value of every case? We have. So when you see those lawyer ads making promises, remember, there's only one call, that's all.
Call 1-800-CALL-KEN.
What's the biggest sales event of the year? Why, it's Toyotathon, of course, and it's at Beaver Toyota. Watch this. We have tons of fresh new inventory. Shop online where you can chat live with the product specialist, watch a live walk-around video of any vehicle, obtain our lowest price, and value your trade-in within minutes. Get financing, too. Don't forget, we can deliver your new Toyota within hours. You save time and you save money. The biggest sale of the year and the very best way to buy your next vehicle. Only at Beaver Toyota and Cumming.
Georgia, Brandon Adams and Rusty Manziel as part of our Georgia Elite Classic. The final game of what has been a full day of high school football here as the Elite Freshman class of 2026 takes on the Elite Sophomores. And it's the Sophomores who find the scoreboard first after a touchdown run a moment ago for Tommy LaFayette, the running back out of Lambert. He had a very nice opening drive. A lot of that in kind of a wildcat situation,
yes,
including the touchdown. And so that gets the 2025s on the board first.
Going to see a little different attack here from the freshmen, in my opinion. They got a lot of guys on the outside. They like kind of their matchups. You're going to see Peyton Zachary. You're going to see a couple of these wide receivers, a freshman from LaGrange. I really like Julian Jones.
A nice representation from the Grangers here.
LaGrange, Coach Matt Napier standing right down there with his staff. And
Deviney's kickoff. By the way, nice over-the-shoulder catch out there. I mean,
listen,
there you go. The athletic big man, you love to see that. That's a beautiful thing right there. For those of you just joining us, we're not doing live kicks here, so it's a chance for some of the guys like Zeke Washington there out of Carrollton to make almost like the Willie Mays style over-the-shoulder catch. Very, very impressive.
Young man started 15 games for Carrollton, and you want to talk about a smart quarterback? Juju Lewis is here. And he's watching he's protecting his big man.
Very smart.
Yes.
Very smart. By the way, let's check out our scoring summary here. We told you about the Sophomores getting on the board. It's presented by Breda Pest Management. 14 plays, 70 yards, 7:09 off the clock. And LaFayette, who had a good number of carries on that drive, finished it off with a touchdown from down near the goal line. Appreciate Breda Pest Management bringing that to us. Off and running, throwing the football here on first down, and that is complete. Yeah. So getting involved offensively that time is KJ DeBruce, the running back out of Coffee.
Had a really good year. You're going to see Harrison Faulkner. This is Georgia Tech offensive coordinator, newly offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner. This is his son, who is a freshman at North Oconee. He's had a really good week. And I'm telling you, I've watched two different. They're going to get the ball out on the edge, out in space with their guys.
Interesting to see Buster Faulkner deciding to stick around with Georgia here through the playoff, even though he's about to be the full-time offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech. I know a lot of Georgia fans are very happy about that. As you see Jacob Levy coming out, making that tackle there.
Make the comment on Buster Faulkner. If you're hiring the right people, people are trying to hire them.
Yeah.
And, good job for him to land that for Brent Key. I know he's excited, but from what I understand, his son right there, Harrison Faulkner, is going to stay at North Oconee. Okay,
well, there you go. Obviously, North Oconee, one of the great programs in 4A here this year. Very, very successful run they had. Number one for a lot of the year.
Yeah, offsides on red. Offsides on red, 5-yard penalty.
Called against the defense.
So the sophomore defense jumping across the line right there. That'll be a 5-yard penalty.
Got a lot of freshmen this year, and we went over that with the staff and the players. We just wanted to make sure we got evals. They're going to rotate a ton of kids. Took about 12 or 13 more than we normally do, but just feel like it's better to get a chance to see these kids practice for a couple of days. They understand they're going to rotate a lot of reps.
What that tells me is there's something to being an all-star coach. You have to know how to handle that. By the way, big play in the backfield that time for the sophomore defense. There to meet the ball carrier. One of the guys in on that hit was Joel Lowenberg out of Darlington.
He's had a really good week. First time I've got a chance to see him. Had a lot of people talk to me about him. You see him fill the hole right there. He was named one of the top 5 performers by their staff on the first day, and impressed with him. Coach Tommy Atha tells me, they've had that run of they've had a guy. Matter of fact, they had a guy commit to Georgia Day. Gus Gammage took the PWO, big 6'5" offensive lineman, but
great to see.
2025 linebacker Joel Lowenberg. They say he's the next one for the Darlington Tigers.
That's going to bring on a punting situation here for the freshman. Once again, we're not doing live kicks there on that, but Leo Adder does come in and get the punt there out of Cambridge. And that's going to give the Sophomores the football back. By the way, we'll look at the resumes here, presented by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Obviously, a lot to like about this sophomore team. When you look at Barrett Davis, the head coach there of that group, that's also the head coach at Evans, a program famous from the Augusta area. And obviously you see A.J. Hill, who we've talked about a lot. And obviously the quarterback as well from Mill Creek as well when it comes to
he's the next one.
Yeah, it really is. You know, had a chance to play put up some nice numbers. So Josiah Abdullah, we've already seen a couple times there as well. So it's a very, very deep roster here. We appreciate the Governor's Office of Highway Safety for making our resumes possible here, and obviously a lot to like with the sophomore team. There is the handoff again, more of a traditional carry for Lafayette this time after some Wildcat quarterback work on the first drive. He's the traditional tailback on that one. I like seeing the teams wearing their traditional helmet. Of course, I mean, there's
Yeah.
That's part convenience,
cool,
but it does kind of look very cool and all-star game-like to see the various helmets represented. I enjoy that.
See Josh Lovelady in the corner right there, head coach of Mill Creek, watching his next quarterback.
That's exactly right. Nice pressure coming in, but Throgmorton gets rid of it.
And that young man right there, Zeke Washington, out of Habersham Central, played last year in this game, had another really good week of practice. Really, really like him.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the numbers that Whittington had put up this season. 96 catches, 987 yards, had a couple of touchdowns there too. But this was almost a 1,000-yard receiver for the Raiders.
He's been really good in practice. They're going to find ways to get in the ball. It's a big third down right here. Got to get off the field if you're the freshman.
Yeah, so 3rd and 4, handoff up the middle, and it's going to be a first down run again. And it's Lafayette once again carrying the football. The PA announcers
last game.
Have asked the players to bring those jerseys down underneath their pads a little bit so you can see them. And to be completely frank, the play-by-play announcer probably
that's exactly what
too.
Matt said the previous game. But you don't carry the weight as those stats guys do.
That's exactly right. That's very true. Throgmorton throwing, and it's caught, and it's a beautiful catch, and running 25-yard line. How about that for Tristan Payne?
Tristan Payne out of St. Francis. Frank Barden. Good play by Throgmorton to keep his eyes down the field. Just drops it right over the coverage there.
Yeah, really nice throw and catch that time. Of course, such a great year for Mill Creek here this season. Shane Throgmorton waits as the future of that program, setting up a screen here. This time, that's going to be incomplete. You had a chance to watch them run through the 7A playoffs. You know, obviously that bracket kind of opened up in the upset game that you and I were lucky enough to call when Walton beat Buford.
Yep.
But I think we both would have said at the time, hey, it's Mill Creek that probably benefits from this the most, and certainly they took full advantage of that.
I think everybody, and I think Mill Creek at the end of the year was the best team. I think the best team in the state. They were just rolling. They had a bunch of seniors. Caleb Downs was dominating games. They were just on a different level.
So it's Throgmorton at your quarterback spot. Lafayette's your running back. Man goes in motion. Pressure coming. Throgmorton gets rid of it. It's almost intercepted. Not able to hold on that time, and he won't be happy about that.
Oh, man.
Had a chance at interception that time. Noah LaValle out of Woodfield Academy.
Yeah, his brother Caleb LaValle just signed with North Carolina. And this is the next one. And Noah wishes he had that one back. But another talented LaValle linebacker. And Caleb played in this game as a freshman, played in this game as a sophomore. And he ended up being a P5 player and committing and signed.
So 3rd down now. Throgmorton trying to set the screen up again. That ball was tipped in line of scrimmage and then incomplete.
Nice job there. Can get off the field this time probably.
Yeah.
As they try a field goal.
It was Bo Ball, I believe, who had the excuse me, that's not correct. It was Evan Harvey out of Sandy Creek.
Yes.
4A state champs.
Yes.
Harvey's the guy who knocked that football down.
Now here's where the freshmen have some defensive ends, and Harvey's one of them. Cam Brooks out of Thomas County Central, big 6'4" defensive end. He's going to be the next big-time prospect, I think, from that Southwest Georgia area.
So that's going to bring on Connor Deviney to try a field goal. It's going to be 43 yards, no rush. And
missed it.
Just a little bit short. He had a shot at it, but just a little bit short.
Rule on that would have been 4 points because it's further than 40 yards. Rusty Mansell inserted that a couple years ago.
Listen, I like that. I'm all about that for sure. Hey, we showed you the team resume for the sophomore team a moment ago. Let's return the favor here for the freshman. Jeremy Avey, terrific coach, part of that Warner Robins staff, and how about a great conclusion to the season that Warner Robins had, getting on at the right time. And obviously Carter Lucky, that Lucky name at Norcross.
Already, man, 6'5". You look at Sayer Quinn out of Calhoun, defensive lineman. Harrison Faulkner, Wigginton, North Paulden, going to take over for Kason Wiseman. I'm going to tell you something. Walker Kirkland, 6'5", didn't play this year. You watch when he gets in, this guy can zip it. Gives you a little Jacob Eason vibe. Wow. 6'5". I think he's in right now. He can toss it around. That might be, we still with.
So once again, brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Throwing here, incomplete. Second down here on the opening drive.
That's Zach Weeks out of Oconee County. That's another one of the Weeks brothers. That's the last
right.
Weeks brother. David Weeks is out of sons. He's got a daughter, but he's out of Division I prospects.
A lot of folks in that Athens area will be very happy to hear because those Weeks names, we saw Whit Weeks earlier. What a great season
West
he had.
Weeks and Whit Weeks, but Zach's the next one. And former Georgia Bulldog captain David Weeks, both his sons now at LSU doing great. And this was the next one, next big-time prospect.
And speaking of that Oconee area, it is still Harrison Faulkner in a quarterback right now. Going to send Weeks in motion. Going to go handoff here, looking for a block. Instead, gets a big hit. And by the way, you are not deceiving yourself here. Carrying the football there and wearing number 60 is Hunter White out of Calhoun.
Let me tell you something. He will never forget that. He has a really good game tonight. He may have to go to Clay Stevens and ask if I can wear 60. But we run out of jersey, limited size there. We've been impressed with him as well. Calhoun's had a great representation today, especially in the 8th and the 9th grade games today.
I'm guessing we're not calling this super strict, but wearing 60, he's technically not eligible to catch the football, correct?
Good job there by Faulkner. Yeah, he's not. Uh-oh. That's Zachary.
Peyton Zachary. We told you about him.
Yes.
He's an electric player. I really like him a lot. I really do.
That is Isaiah McKenzie. I'm telling you, the size of him, what he can do. And special teams is not live today. So he can impact the game. But watch him get to 5th gear as soon as he puts the foot in the ground.
So I don't mind telling this. Before we saw him in the Corky Kell Classic, I really didn't know much about him at all. How much had you kind of seen?
Nothing. Now, they kept telling me, we got this freshman. Well, listen, I've been in business a long time. Everybody's got a freshman.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, he was worthy of that. He's had a great year. Louisville offered him last night. He's picked up a few offers. Western Kentucky already.
Yeah, 868 yards, 6 touchdowns on the season. Now he's going to get a chance to kind of run the ball and kind of a sweep play.
Yep.
But he's going to be met in the backfield. Really nice job making that tackle back there by one of the sophomores. Great work that time by Caden Thompson out of Cherokee Bluff.
Had a good year. We had him earlier in the game.
We actually saw them against Kell, right?
Yes, he had a big hit in practice yesterday as well. But he's had a good week.
Yeah, Cherokee Bluff obviously had a nice run of wins. Probably not the season this year they would have liked to have had, but obviously Coach Jones there continued to do a great job in Hall County. 2nd 16 after the lost yardage. Faulkner going to try to throw it. Slinging it, and it's wide open. And Zachary's going to have some fun with it on its way to the end zone for a touchdown.
Good job by Faulkner right there to find that open receiver and stand in there.
And Rusty, I'm going to give you credit. You've obviously spent all week long with these players. You told us, you said, hey, these two offenses are going to be very different. This freshman team's going to throw it around. And how about Zachary having some fun there, almost backpedaling his way into the end zone on that.
Nice ball by Harrison Faulkner there. And Zachary, I'm telling you right now, he is a problem in the sophomores. I don't care who you put on him, is going to have a tough night matching up with him.
You almost got like a Field of Dreams thing going on there in the Floyd County night there. As you see the cars kind of rolling in there. I like that.
It's been a beautiful day.
It has been gorgeous. I was here early and one of the hotels across the street, kind of sat there for a while and kind of worked on my notes a little bit. And look out the window, you see the bridge.
Man.
I mean, Rome, Floyd County, really pristine conditions here today. And I'm so thankful to have this warm weather after what was obviously some miserable weather around Christmas. Yeah. By the way, we'll take our Brady Pass Management scoring summary. 5 plays, 80 yards, 2 minutes, 18 seconds off the clock. Zachary on the touchdown reception. Peyton Zachary out of Kell High School on the receiving end there from Harrison Faulkner. And all of a sudden, we're tied up here, 7-7 between the freshmen and the sophomores. And this is a lot of fun. 2 very different teams.
Yep.
A little bit different,
style of attack for sure. And Tucker Pruitt knows they can run the ball, for lack of a better term, they can run the ball down their throat. But you want to showcase your guys. You want to call some plays and get the wide receivers involved. So, he's going to do that. You're going to rotate quarterbacks. We're taught with each staff, look, we want to play everybody. I talked to the head coach, Jeremy Avery, the freshman team. We talked to the entire staff. They understand the amount of players they have, and you see those green jerseys lined up. But they're going to try to rotate as much as possible and get these guys in. And I'm really, really excited to learn these 2026s. So I spent a lot of time watching those guys this week. First time really getting to see a lot of them in person.
So I'm curious of your opinion on this as the kickoff comes again. Obviously, a great freshman can be better even than a senior, but when you're comparing two players of sort of similar skill set, how much of an inherent advantage does a sophomore typically have over a freshman?
A lot of experience. And the biggest thing is one more year in the weight room.
Yeah.
I mean, that growth. I mean, you look at these guys. Look at Mal Waldrop there, 69 and 50. That's Braden Jacobs, son of Brandon Jacobs.
Oh, that's nice.
And oh, by the way, he transferred to Buford. But he's about 6'5", 6'6", 290 pounds, ton of offers. 69 standing beside him. He's 6'5". So I really, really like those guys. And these guys right here, he couldn't play last year, but a lot of those other guys played, and they took a loss as freshmen. They understand what's going on, but and they got that starting 5 offensive line back real quick. You see that rotated those guys back.
No doubt about that.
As the freshman dropped a 7 spot on them.
Neff playing around for right now. Yeah. Hill also back in at quarterback, too. He's going to crank it up, and he's going to throw, but it's going to be incomplete.
Missed Abdullah there.
Yeah, his intended target was Josiah Abdullah once again, but unable to connect with him. We're coming up on the end of our first quarter here. Just 22 seconds left in the first quarter.
I do want to mention we did have one little minor injury, but he had a really good week. I thought Brody Talbot out of Prince Avenue, sophomore wide receiver, got kind of banged up late last night, made a decision with his dad, Brandon Talbot, who actually coached, kept him out of this game, but Brody Talbot had a good week as well with these wide receivers. And I know Greg Vandergrift's excited about him going into the next season as they lose some guys on that Prince team. But one thing you can be sure they're going to throw it around. They're going to throw it around with.
They're going to find a quarterback somewhere.
Aaron Philo's got one more year.
That's right. He does have one more year.
They get some wide receivers to replace those guys. But Brody Talbot not playing tonight, but had a really good week.
Well, I would say this for Prince Avenue: if you took care of business, won the state championship, then you earned the right to maybe rest up here on an all-star game night. They took care of business when it needed to.
Offsides on green. 5-yard penalty.
The Class A Division I state champs were Prince Avenue Christian. What a year it was for Aaron Philo, and did a great job spreading the ball around.
What a game with Swainsboro.
It was a great game.
Swainsboro has nothing to. You talking about speed? That 4x100 team, man, in person they could roll.
And today was also, by the way, media day for the Peach Bowl, which takes place in Atlanta on Saturday. A lot of folks are getting a chance to talk to Brock Vandegrift, the son of obviously Greg Vandegrift. And a lot of folks were happy to hear from him, and he's seemingly enjoying himself there at the University of Georgia, so that's a nice thing to see as well. Under 20 seconds now in our first quarter.
I had a chance to talk with Brock at the state championship, and I didn't ask him, but he came up to me. We talked for a minute. He said, "Look, I'm fighting for this job at Georgia." So there's rumors out there, this and that. Brock told me straight up, "I'm staying to fight for this job, compete," and says a lot about that young man, and he will have his opportunity as this spring and summer unfold.
And based on what I saw from him in high school, I wouldn't count him out of that competition.
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't count him out at all.
Nope.
Hey, we've had a really fun first quarter here, and we want to keep the fun going right now. In fact, let's check in with our buddy Craig Sager from Score Atlanta. He's down on the field. Craig, go ahead.
All right, so it's the 10th anniversary of the Georgia Elite Classic. The 2022 season is about to come to an end, and we have picked our top 10 players of the season. We got the list for you right here. We actually ranked them 1 through 10. So we're going to start with Caleb Downs, who I think he was labeled the most college-ready prospect that they've ever seen. Najee, what do you see from him this season?
I mean, it was just incredible. He had 3 rushing touchdowns in that title game. He played great. He played both sides of the ball. You could use him in rushing attack. You could use him on defense. You could use him almost as a utility player. Just played both sides of the ball great. He does look like the most college-ready player. I think he's already warming up right now. Might even, get a little bit of time in their bowl game potentially. I heard he's already practicing with Alabama now.
He did it all for them except kick. Then junior quarterback Prentice Nolan, what a statement season he had. 55 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. And then we got Justice Haynes Buford, just such a complete back, an absolute stud, 5-star. And then junior Bryce Hicks, talk about a breakout season.
Swiss Army knife, use him in a multitude of ways. Get him the ball in the backfield. He could throw it 205 yards in that big game against Coker County in the playoffs. Phenomenal player.
And we put Juju Lewis on there, the only freshman. I just thought he elevated the entire state with what he brought to the table this season. First year in 7A, leads them to a finals run. Junior Aaron Philo at number 6. He did it again. He only played 14 games. He got 1 canceled. So he would have probably been at 5,800 yards this season. And then Bailey Stockton, we got to give him a shout out. His incredible performance in the state championship. We got Harlem Diamond. What a career he had at Cedartown. And why don't you close it out with the final two?
Yes, I got to go. Final two, Jeremy Heglinski pulled off the biggest upset we've probably seen in a decade or two, beating Buford. Opening week, we had him corking Kell, 426 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was incredible this season. I think he's going to take a big step forward even next year, even though he's already a 3-star. And the last one, Eli Burrow, working ball, had 186 total tackles this season. He was incredible. So congrats to our scores, top 10. This is our kind of inaugural list that we're doing. We're so excited. Me and Craig compiled this list together, and it was so much fun.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. We're going to toss it right back to Rusty and Brandon.
Thank you so much, Craig, and what a fun list that is. And one of the things I like with the list they just put out there, I'm happy to see Bryce Hicks get some of the credit he deserves for, what a great season he had. Obviously, when you have a freshman quarterback like Julian Lewis, you're going to get a lot of attention. But, man, Hicks was an important part of what that Carrollton team did. And a big hit on A.J. Hill. And the ball comes out. Incredible pass pressure that time, coming in there to get the hit on Hill. Give credit on that to Caden Fossling out of Gainesville. They have so many good defensive linemen.
We watched him twice. That was number 92, the freshman defensive end for Gainesville. What a play coming right around the tackle. You see the bend on him and strip sack right there. Nice job.
I talked to so many coaches this year, and one of the things that I heard a lot is they were amazed by the defensive line rotation game.
Oh,
and obviously they used it
against
young kids, rotate a lot of guys. Fossling's a name to know. You just saw him there get the big hit on Hill. But when you talk about, how was it in his first year that Josh Niblett was able to lead Gainesville to a state championship final game and play against the awesome Langston Hughes team? The depth they had up front defensively, the number of players they played on defense goes a long way towards explaining that.
You're going to see him right here. You're going to see this young man, I'm telling you. Walker Kirkland, he got hurt this year, could not play. He got cleared in November. He is legit 6'5".
Out of the Wesleyan Wolves program.
I'll get rid of it.
But he's not going to be able to do anything that time. Returned favor on the pass rush. Coming over to bring him down was Adrian Forbes out of Blessed Trinity.
Good job there. Kirkland's got to get into the game mood and mode and know that he's got about 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. You got to make something happen,
and you just can't simulate that if you're not.
He hasn't had the game experience this year, so he is coming in off an injury. But I'm telling you, he's going
to learn a lot in this opportunity. It's what a game like this is really about, that chance to learn so much. Going to crank it up and throw it this time. Nice throw and catch, complete. Fighting at the 36-yard line. A little bit of a wrestling match going on there, but a nice catch nonetheless, though. Able to haul that one in is Tayshawn Franklin out of Ware County.
Played in this game last year, plays as an 8th grader. And I'll tell you how good Ware County was. He barely got to play this year,
right.
But
He did not have big numbers.
Everybody there says this is the next one. And saw a basketball video of him. He plays basketball, and you were talking about taking one down 2 hands.
Oh, man.
As a freshman.
State champs, of course, in 5A. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rusty, they were wire-to-wire state champs. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Bo Cochran there, the intended receiver. That's 37. That is Scott Cochran's son.
Okay, that's fun.
Prince Avenue, yep. So you had Matt Luke play earlier today. Had his son. You got Buster Faulkner now. So a lot of guys from that area. And Kirkland may have to get another jersey.
Well, if you go around that, Athens area, and I'm going to include Jefferson in the Athens area here, the level of talent in that community right now is really deep. And, in a lot of cases, there are last names that you recognize, whether it be, several weeks, brothers coming through Oconee County, or names of coaches' sons, things like that. Obviously, long string of quarterbacks. I mean, it's just kind of the Athens community has really improved from a football standpoint. What do we have going on here? That's an incomplete pass? Is that right?
I think he was down. If
they're calling it a fumble, I guess.
They might challenge this because if you look, I think when the ball snaps, see if he puts his hand down or knee down. If we got the replay, is he down? He was down or not right there?
It is a fumble. I mean, if he wasn't down, it is a fumble.
Yeah.
You don't typically see fumbles get kicked forward like that. I guess it's almost like a holy roller thing from the NFL back in the 70s.
But strip, right. Yep. Harrison East out of Coosa High School with recovery.
So back to work here go the sophomores. In at quarterback, once again, Shane Throgmorton out of Mill Creek. And you still got some extracurricular stuff going on here. So, listen, to quote, was Apollo Creed, it's supposed to, or no, I guess Duke from Rocky IV, supposed to be an exhibition, but sometimes these players have to be reminded of
what are you doing? It's supposed to be an exhibition as he spit on everybody in the ring right there. Yeah, Whittington there shouldn't have that. You got to finish, and you got to get up, and they threw a flag on him.
Yeah. And you've been around the same guys all week long, and obviously there's a lot of bonding and friendships that are formed here, but there's also a little bit of competitive fire that probably kicks in, too, when you've been competing against the same guys all week.
Yeah, and we normally don't do this, but for field space, we had these two teams practice together, so they practice on the opposite end of the fields.
Person foul on green, person foul on red, offsetting.
That side may have said it all right there.
Yeah. Got a live mic there.
Huh?
Yeah, we're about
18.
Yeah.
That side may have told the story right there.
It's late in the year, and we got two kids fighting in the first quarter. I feel you, man. Late at night. But these two teams got a little chippy at the end of yesterday. But listen, they know, these two teams know there's a lot of eyes on all of them, but nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing that was alarming this week. These kids behave. I'm talking about these kids behaved from the 8th grade to seniors.
That's great to see.
It's been a really, really good group up here in Rome all week.
And I think you would say, as someone who obviously does this for a living, that ability to control your behavior off the field goes a long way towards making yourself the kind of player on the field you want to be.
I meet personally with each team at some point in the week, and we have a no exception policy. So if you do something worthy of getting sent home, you don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
And we've had minimal issues
great.
in 10 years.
That's great.
Minimal issues in 10 years.
And you know this from talking to college coaches all the time. I mean, listen, the ability to, kind of trust a guy in a program, that's a huge thing right now. They want to be able to feel good about what you're going to influence you're going to be in the locker room, or, what you're going to be doing when you're away from football. That's an important part of the recruiting process right now.
When this play is over, I'll tell you a crazy story from today.
Okay. Throgmorton setting up the throw, and it's caught. And running down the sideline, then lowering the shoulder inside the 40-yard line. Beautiful play that time, and this sophomore team is in business right there. Great catch by Sam Wooten, the tight end out of Christian Heritage.
Yes, sir. Good play here. This is a guy who plays linebacker as well. Hal Lamb called me. He's the athletic director of Christian Heritage, had 2 players. And he called me on Wooten and his other linebacker and said, look, these 2 kids can play. Got a penalty there. I just plan to call you who I ran into today. First time in my career I've ever ran into someone like this at a game scouting.
Look forward to hearing that. So, unfortunately, the Wooten play going to be taken away by an illegal shift by the offense. And a lot of that's just kind of related to when you don't get a whole lot of practice time, some of those timing things, it's hard to get all that down in just a small handful of days of practice.
Ran into the lead scout today of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, wow.
And he was here watching baseball players.
Is that right?
And we got talking about social media, and they have a complete team in the Major League Baseball that goes through your social media. Not only goes through your social media, they go through your girlfriend's social media, looking at likes, looking at what kind of pattern you have.
That's interesting.
And I asked him if he would come back and speak next year.
Oh, that's great.
So thank you.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but you never know who you're going to run into. The first time I've ran into a baseball scout at one of these sporting events.
Throgmorton threw it. Receiver fell down. That was Gamble, the intended receiver, who fell down.
Look at Jarius Washington out of Buford. His shoe was off.
Let me correct myself. There was actually Caden Adderhold, who was the intended receiver. So he fell down, almost made the catch on the ground. And then the ball caromed off, and it was kind of up for grabs there for a moment. So Adderhold did a good job after slipping to get himself back in position.
You're going to see 68 with a Lanier Lightning. If we can zoom in on the red 68 for the sophomores. This young man is Josh Womack.
Red coach is challenging the green blitz on that play, so we need to replay that.
Well, how about that?
He's challenging the blitz. So this young man is at Lanier Christian, and the former Gainesville head coach Bruce Miller is there.
Yeah.
And he called me, and he said, look, I got a guy. I've never even heard of Lanier Christian. Well, they got a 6'5", 360-pound tackle.
Is that right?
He's had a really good week. And that's what it's about, too, giving that young man an opportunity to compete against these guys. Are they blitzed? Yeah, they might have blitzed. Good job by picking it up.
Yeah. By the way, Bruce Miller now at Lanier, this is a guy that had success, obviously, Gainesville and North Forsyth as well. Won a couple of different region championships with 2 different schools.
as Jeremy Avery, the freshman head coach, is probably saying, he just read his keys real quick. He just read his keys a little quicker.
How does the selection process go for these coaches? Obviously, talk about Bear Davis, the head coach at Evans, working with the sophomore team, and Coach Avery from Warner Robins, on part of that coaching staff, working with his freshman class. What's the process like for you to select coaches for this? What makes a good coach for the Georgia League class?
2-2 blitzing. We're going 10 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Replaying fourth down.
I like to mix head coaches with
5. Okay, let's do 5.
Assistant coach.
Okay,
Yeah.
recall.
So I had Corey Jarvis,
longtime
longtime head coach, Lithia Springs
we
coach.
Got Lee, we got,
I had him. But Jeremy's, I like for these guys to be able to put this on their resume.
Going 5 from right there.
He's entertaining. Want to keep
we
him
got
mic'd
5
up.
from right there. Did blitz. 22 did blitz. We got it. So we got a penalty.
Listen, I may go home and let him finish it off here. He's doing a great job.
Yes.
But
3.
I like for these guys, I especially like to try to find assistants to add that to their resume. And I like for them to spend 3 days and kind of understand what it takes to you're answering for everyone.
Well, it's a great chance, getting a team from the hotel to the field on time to start practicing, keeping everybody organized. That is a great learning experience for these guys who obviously want to be head coaches in their own right.
And I've had several coaches text me and say, hey, look, I want you to get one of my assistants next year, which I love that. Had Sean Calhoun from Colquitt County. He's going to give me one of his young assistants next year. And that's really what it's about for me.
That's great to see. So it is 3rd down. Ball came free, but I believe the running back was down. I think the back may have been down.
See if they challenge this.
It would be a scoop by Elijah Page, the cornerback of the Terrell, I should say.
They're going to challenge it.
I thought he looked down, but I've also been wrong
reached.
already.
Now, the only way that it was not, somebody had to hit, because I saw what you saw. Let's see. This is going to be the view here.
All righty. Green wants to challenge the fumble on.
Down.
Yeah, I think he's down.
He's down.
He
down. And I'm with you. He is down.
No fumble. No fumble. No fumble. No.
And you know what I like about that? How quick that decision was made.
Yeah.
He saw it. And
I wish they'd do that on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yes, I agree. Oh my goodness! I'd wait. That would an SEC staff would have a heart attack making a call that.
If you look up there on the screen and you see it's obvious, let's just put it back together and go play football again.
That referee would be in that window, that thing, for another 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Nothing worse than that on the Saturdays and Sundays when these long, drawn-out challenges take place.
I like it.
By the way, how many challenges have you given these teams today?
I hope they get one. I don't know if IJ was a challenge guy.
IJ Rosenberg, our executive producer. Big hit that time. Big hit coming in the way.
Yes, sir. Pepperell Dragon right there.
Yeah.
Sam Rawls delivered that on that running back, Javen Parker. But again, I'm telling you, Sam Rawls started as a freshman at Pepperell, and watch him come and deliver this pop.
Yeah, Ross has already had a nice day. Parker has as well, but he on the receiving end of that big hit.
And you don't really think about it in a real game, but you're like, man, that freshman just kind of got into me a little bit, Doesn't matter in a normal game, but that everybody's a freshman on the other side.
LaFayette fighting up around the 48-yard line. He's gotten a heavy dose of action so far tonight. So Lanier Christian's the Lanier Lightning. I like that nickname.
And we had, it came from Coach Miller, so I had to kind of look it up. But I was like, man, I've never heard that. But,
sure.
Great job by them to get him up here, and a couple players.
Throgmartin surveying the situation at quarterback out of Mill Creek, of course. Setting up the throw. That pass is caught. It's Zeke Whittington. Whittington rests out of bounds around the 45-yard line.
Great block because the defensive back recognized the formation, jumped it, and watched the block here, right here at the edge. See that by one? Tristan Payne does a great job to get that guy sealed off to give him the boundary.
Of course, hard not to think about a Habersham Central wide receiver. That thing about Tavares King.
No doubt. No doubt. Whittington, though, been really impressed with him.
Throckmorton setting up the screen. That's Whittington again. And, boy, Whittington turns on the Jets.
Gets up the field quick, man.
He really does.
Gets up the field quick.
Down to the 32-yard line. He got 14 that time.
Now we're kind of in the rhythm of the game. The freshmen realize, hey, we can play with these guys. We got a little momentum. Both teams, again, playing a lot of players.
Whittington kind of having some fun with the first down gesture when that's said and done. I like that on an all-star game night.
Used to him.
Don't mind that at all. Throgmorton faking the handoff, rolling right, pressure coming, gets it away. That's caught. 30-yard line, spun down there. That's nice catch once again for Sam Wooten.
Good tackle there by Ashton Moore out of Alpharetta. Played a lot for them. Coach Jason Curvin sent a lot of guys here this week. His senior quarterback, Ben Guthrie, was outstanding today in the senior game. But Ashton Moore, freshman at Alpharetta, started a lot of games for a 7A program.
One of 3 different Raiders teams of what we have here representing our game tonight. You see Lafayette to the 20-yard line. He's had a great night.
Yes, he has.
9 yards on the carry. Yeah, you got what? East Paulding, Habersham Central, Alpharetta, all the Raiders. We got a lot of Raiders represented here tonight.
Oh, man, it should have been the middle school game. Every Raider in the state of Georgia was here.
Our red zone here presented by Chicken Salad Chick. As Throgmorton connects again, Lafayette.
That's Wooten, I believe.
Yeah, excuse me, you were exactly right about that.
Yeah.
Once again to Sam Wooten.
You were exactly right about that.
Christian Heritage.
Plays at Christian Heritage. Dad's here. He's a young man. His dad grew up in Rome. Plays up there for Hal Lamb's actually athletic director at Christian Heritage.
You see a look there at Javen Washington, cornerback out of Buford. Boy, how
you just know he's tough.
Yeah.
You know he's tough. Not the biggest guy, but the pace they practice and physicality there. You know that he's well seasoned in physicality and being able to play this level.
No doubt about that. By the way, big hit that time in the backfield for Evan Harvey. And you got to imagine Buford when you look ahead to 2024. When you think about all of those will be rising seniors, then they're going to be in a bad mood next season.
And they added 2 huge pieces here in these 2 young men. Look at that.
Ooh, how about that leaping, diving catch for LaFayette? He does it.
Yeah.
Give me the 13-yard line.
Great job right there. It was going to be a wheel route, and he was unable to get it. But look at him adjust to the ball. You see Coach Lovelady there in the burgundy. He even gives him a clap right there.
Yeah, you like that. That's good. That's good.
This young man's had a really good first half. At Lambert High School.
So 4th down.
Go Wildcat.
That's the Wildcat. Different running back, though, than operating before. He's going to get the first down there that time. Getting a chance to carry the football. Javen Parker, of course, out of East Paulding.
Yeah, they're trying to mash them in one right here.
1st and goal. Parker from the Wildcat again. Previous touchdown for these sophomores did come out of that Wildcat formation. It was Lafayette who had that one. Now it's Parker who's getting his turn to do that. Pretty simple and straightforward for this class of 2025 team right now.
Well, right now, Tucker Pruitt's tried a couple different series, couple different things, unable to work. So what he knows he can do is he can run the football, and this game is tied 7-7. They need to score.
Parker again, dancing his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Javen Parker.
Yep.
He did it 10 times during the season for East Paulding, and he does it for the first time tonight here during our Georgia Elite Classic.
Been impressed with him, but look at the block on the line. Look at there. Nobody touches him till he's in. Nobody touched him. You see Big Mason Short blocking his guy through the end zone. So, this was always a potential tonight, and we'll see if the freshman team can answer. Plenty of time left in the first half. Got a 2-minute warning, Brandon, with that NFL rule. So, plenty of time to get back and get those wide receivers and see if they can tie this thing up, maybe going into halftime.
It's also one of those things where this sophomore team knows they can go back to that if they need to.
That's what he just did.
Yeah.
And he had the other 5 in at O-line, and we just kind of plowed some ground there.
All right, so it's sophomores on top of freshmen 14-7. This is the Georgia Elite Classic. We're having a great time. It's our final broadcast of the year here for 2022. So stay with us, and we'll see you for a whole lot more right after this on Peach Street TV.
What's the biggest sales event of the year? Why, it's Toyotathon, of course, and it's at Beaver Toyota. Watch this. We have tons of fresh new inventory. Shop online where you can chat live with the product specialist, watch a live walk-around video of any vehicle, obtain our lowest price, and value your trade-in within minutes. Get financing, too. Don't forget, we can deliver your new Toyota within hours. You save time and you save money. The biggest sale of the year and the very best way to buy your next vehicle. Only at Beaver Toyota and Cumming.
I'm attorney Ken Nugent. If you're hurting trying to choose a law firm, here are some questions you need to ask. Do they have a fully staffed office right here in town? We do. Have they litigated thousands of cases here in Georgia? We have. And have they collected billions of dollars for their clients? You know we have. So when you see those lawyer ads making promises, remember, there's only one call, that's all.
Call 1-800-CALL-KEN.
As a child, my little brother and I would wake up our parents at 6 a.m. so excited to see what was under that tree. Now we sleep in a little bit later, and it's the family time that's really the best gift of all. Wishing you and yours a happy holiday season.
When you have the most important job in the delivery business, you need help from the most accurate team in the weather business.
Oh, better leave early.
The First Alert Weather app from Atlanta News First, the official weather app of Christmas.
The world revolves around Sheldon. Move too close and you might get burned.
Howard, you know me to be a very smart man. Don't you think if I were wrong, I'd know it?
He's thermonuclear.
Here, that's college ruled. I hope that's not too intimidating.
It's getting hot in here.
Your bottom radiates enough heat, I'm surprised there aren't iguanas lying on it.
The Big Bang Theory.
Weeknights at 7 on Peachtree TV.
Amy, get the Neosporin. Somebody just got burned.
The Georgia Elite Classic is sponsored by Sports Turf. You bring the vision, we'll bring it to life. The Atlanta Falcons, rise up Dirty Birds. Gatorade, fuel tomorrow. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. And by Personal Touch Lawn Care, the smallest details make the biggest difference.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sophomores have a 14-7 lead over the freshmen. This is the Georgia Elite Classic. We're looking at the elite players from the class of 2025, the class of 2026. These are the names you'll be seeing on the recruiting websites in the future, and obviously starring in Georgia high school football the next couple of years there as well. They're making their name right now, including the sophomore team. They just went 15 plays, 71 yards, 7 minutes, 52 seconds off the clock. It's our Breda Pest Management scoring summary. Of course, all capped off there with the Javen Parker touchdown run. Young man out of East Paulding had a great year this past year. About more than 1,000 yards rushing, 188 carries, 1,048 yards. And he shows you on that previous drive why he was so successful last season.
Yeah, the guy that started before him, Justin Williams, committed to Tennessee, spent a year at Tennessee, went in the portal, and just committed to Stanford.
How about that?
So the next running back at East Paulding is going to be
a new look Stanford team next year, by the way.
About that.
No more David Shaw there as the head coach. And I can honestly say I don't know anything about the coach they hired. He's from Sacramento State or something like that?
I don't know either. Look at the left guard there, Mason Townsend, young man that started every game at Prince. Worked a lot with him, see him. Gets a good block right there. Played on the FBU one of the national championship teams. Played in the national championship. Played in the freshman All-American game last week, I think down in Naples 2 weeks ago. And Mason Townsend's had a really good week, and I know the Prince guys are excited about him as well. Look at Zach Weeks there, Oconee County. Coffee. Hit up the Coffee coach. I said, look, I need a bigger back. And he said, we got one. So
Tay Harris also had a nice open field tackle that time. Now, DeBruce was able to get some positive yards out of it, but nice opening field tackle that time by Harris, young man out of Cedartown.
C15 there.
Timeout green.
Hudson Koshera, young man out of Cambridge. You talk about Will Taylor and the career he had at Cambridge. Hudson's had a really good week. Both days selected, number 15 right there, both days selected by the coaching staff as one of the top performers. I know he's going to be the next guy there. I know Coach Bennett's probably excited about him. And
that's a Cambridge team that throws the ball a ton.
Yes.
Throws the ball a ton. By the way, we'll see our freshman resume here. We talked to you a little earlier about Carter Lucky. Obviously coming out of this Norcross program. Lawson Lucky at the University of Georgia right now. Been going through those early enrollee practices. Sanger Quinn out of Calhoun. Great year for Cal. Really an outstanding year for everybody in that region. than Harrison Faulkner. We got a chance to see him at the quarterback spot a little earlier. They pushed a lot of the right buttons today, Jeremy Avery has. They trail by a touchdown right now, but pushed a lot of the right buttons. By the way, that's our team resume presented by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
And you look across this freshman offensive line, when they walk up there, that's not tiny kids now. They're just a little bit younger, but they're still 260, 270. Big right tackles, 290.
Little flea flicker play. Ball came free. Bounces back in the quarterback's hand.
Yep.
So you had a chance there. It's Cade Wigington in at quarterback out of South Paulding.
That's Harrison Faulkner still back in.
Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me.
And the thing about it makes that hard, Brandon, on a play like that is such timing involved. And he pitches it back. You want to sell that play a little bit more if you can. Was unable to, and just trying to make things make things happen.
Ball bounced right back into Faulkner's hand.
We want to take a shot here with Zachary at the bottom. I believe we're going to get him involved.
We saw him get a touchdown earlier. Faulkner looking that way. And it's a battle for the football. Not able to come down with it.
Is that LaGrange there? I believe
that's Jordan Stringer.
Yes, I'm telling you now. This guy, this is the one that I didn't know anything about.
Okay.
This is the one that created some buzz. This is the staff that told me, the staff texted me, said, hey, the LaGrange kid is legit. And they're going to get him involved more. Good ball there by Faulkner. Give his receiver a chance.
That T for logo on the side of the North Oconee helmet. You see David Pollock wearing that a lot. Pollock, part of, I guess, a volunteer community coach member of that staff.
I'm telling you,
oftentimes on TV, he'll be wearing the North Oconee hat right there on television.
David Pollock has to be the director of football ops at North Oconee. If he's not, he's missing a good opportunity, because North Oconee and that group, with his son, the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, Harrison Matt Luke's son's there with that middle school group going into high school. David Pollock has been coaching those kids now for 4 or 5 years.
My guess is he has a lot of energy in the practice field.
I'm sure he does.
If I had to guess what his coaching personality is like, that's the assumption I would make.
And he does a good job taking those kids a lot. He's taking 6 or 7 of them. He'll take them to game days and let those kids experience, sit in the bleachers and watch those. So does a good job. You see Coach Avery still coaching there on the sidelines, and really, really fun to talk to him about, all the teams and all the guys at Warner Robins. But, man, they were just so banged up at the end of the year this year.
A.J. Hill back at quarterback for this sophomore team. Setting up a pass, and that's a big hit. It's going to be complete to Josiah Abdullah. But coming over to make a big hit that time. And C.J. Reese has had a couple of those already tonight.
C.J. Reese out of Fannin County. C.J. Reese out of Fannin County. Got a chance to see him last spring at a camp there in Blue Ridge. Nice play.
You see him wearing the 23 on his helmet. That's his high school number, 41 here in the All-Star game.
Yep.
One of the Rebels of Fannin County.
Had a really good year 2 years ago. Lost a lot of players, but
when I was in high school, it seems
2 minute warning, 2 minute warning.
Fannin County is great at girls basketball. I feel like they have a long run of success.
Yeah. My first ever high school football game, I played Fannin County, scared to death, not going to lie to you, but that they have really come on up there. That area is growing. Football's getting better, but you can bet if you take a girls basketball team up on that mountain, you better be ready to go.
Let's learn more about our sophomore coaching staff here. Barrett Davis, we told you about, head coach there at Evans. How about Tucker Pruitt, Alan Troutman, Shane Walker, Jay Akery? Give us a little bit more of an idea of who some of these guys are.
Well, here's what we do, too. Here's one rule. Coach, we can only have the maximum of 3 per staff. We don't want you to bring your high school staff up here. So I'll say this about Barrett Davis. We had a player get hurt yesterday. It wasn't on his team.
Okay.
And while we were waiting, this young man was in pain, and he's okay today. Coach Davis came up and said, hey, you mind if I pray with you? And put his arm around him. And that meant the absolute world to me.
Yeah.
Wasn't even a player on his team. Coach Davis, appreciate you doing that. And didn't go unnoticed. And I know that meant the world to that kid because he needed it at that moment.
I'm blown away by the level of leadership we get from Georgia high school football coaches. I really am.
Yep.
A Hill throwing, showing off that arm strength there, and it's complete. Down to the 25-yard line. That's Abdullah again. Josiah Abdullah out of Woodward Academy. You give him a step, he's going to find something, and Hill knows how to get the football to him.
That was called a rope. and you get Abdullah running up the field. It's hard to, somebody like that gets a free release. It's tough to deal with, but that's the best ball of the night from Hill. He really stepped into that one.
If you want to know an idea of what Georgia high school football is all about, Hill, the quarterback, played on a team that was a 4 seed in the playoffs.
And they won the first game. Yeah.
You want an idea of how
They won to the quarters,
yeah,
right?
They got all the way to play games on the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
But if you want an idea of the level of depth that this state
In that region, oh, goodness.
You won the region, and your prize for doing that's get a chance to play a 1-4 game against Houston County.
They went to Brunswick.
Won
on the last play of the game.
It's the Red Zone here, presented by our friends at Chicken Salad Chick. A lot of folks chomping down on some Chicken Salad Chick before the game began.
Had to make Stacey Evans. Told the story before. Founder of that Chicken Salad Chick is from Rome.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
A little sidearm action, Hill there, a little bit different arm angle. Almost looked like, everybody always does Patrick Mahomes in a situation like that, but it almost kind of reminded me of that on that play there. And it was Parker, who's already got a touchdown, who was the intended target.
Big, I believe that was James Morrow, defensive end out of Buford, there in coverage. I know it's going to shock people, but that Buford freshman class is really, really good.
Yeah,
like really good.
They had guys they could not get on the field this year.
They didn't play.
Yeah.
They have offers.
I think the thing that sort of told the story for Buford for me was they take Justice Haynes, the 5-star running back, on his way to Alabama out of the game. They put in like a freshman who's got
20 offers.
USC.
Yeah. We were doing that game is this really happening?
Hill throwing towards the end zone, and it's caught for a touchdown.
Got him looking in the backfield there.
Zeke Washington at Habersham Central gets the touchdown pass.
Just a good route guy. He beat him off the line of scrimmage, and I'm telling you, Whittington, he's a guy that he's going to get some looks. He's a matchup problem. He gets a little dance, a little feet with him, but you want to start talking about, and listen, we're going to have 100 comparisons, but you want to talk about a little bit of Ladd McConkey.
Okay.
And some bounce and some wiggle to you. But you look at that route, he just beat that young man off the line of scrimmage, and it was over, and Hill delivered that for an easy touchdown.
Yeah, I think the thing about McConkey for me is when he was coming out of high school, and listen, there are people like you and people that I respect that were trying to sing McConkey's praises at the time.
I should have sang more. I didn't do it early enough. But I had so many people, Brandon, so many people reach out to me and say, Ladd McConkey. And the problem I had, his size.
Yeah.
I just how can this guy really be meaningful in an SEC?
I don't mind telling you, I don't do this for a living. I'm not a scout. But I don't mind telling you, I couldn't really get past the size part of that because he's not very big. I saw him today in person, and he's just not very big. But the one thing I did not quite realize is, and that's what's interesting about some of the guys we're highlighting tonight, including Whittington right there, is the level of athleticism he has. Not only is McConkey a good runner, and obviously he's kind of known now for that lateral quickness.
Yes.
When he has a chance to go up and high point the football, him not being very tall, his leaping ability, he brings an outsized level of athleticism, and he really, really does.
I'll tell you what, they're not perfect and they missed, but the evaluation by Kirby Smart and that staff to go up there, and when Kirby watched that basketball game, and he must have had a heck of a basketball game. Georgia offered him right after in January. He was committed to UTC. And I remember he commits, and a lot of people on our boards and my message boards like, what are we doing?
Yep.
And he is a major, major weapon for the University.
By the way, our Breda Pest Management scoring summary, Whittington gets the touchdown. 5 plays, 50 yards, 2 minutes, 13 seconds off the clock. Sophomore start to extend that lead just a bit, but with 36 seconds left in the half, we'll see if the freshman team can get their chance to respond here.
Got Kirkland back in from Wesleyan.
Kirkland going to crank up and throw. He's got a completion down the sideline. That gets him near midfield. That's a little bit of a chance there. Also getting Bo Cochran involved.
Yep, Bo Cochran. Plays a little DB. His opportunity to be coming at Prince now. He'll be one of the next guys up.
Is there a story about why Prince Avenue wears the Michigan-style helmet? Obviously the Wolverines, but was there a backstory about them, taking that as a nickname?
I don't know the winged helmets there. Mark Rick was heavily involved in the starting of that athletic program there, and don't really know the story there. Greg Vandergriff texted me a little while ago, so I know he's watching the game.
It's a cool-looking helmet, it really is.
They have some sweet uniforms.
We'll see our freshman coaching staff here as well. We should do the sophomores early. We'll see this freshman coaching staff here once again. You see Jeremy Avery, obviously out of Warner Robins. And he's got a great group with him. Josh Schooler and Trip Turley and David Bruce and Brett Sloan and Brian Young. And as you said before, Rusty, you know, these guys have really given their time this week to be here, work with these young men, and you really see the love of the game on full display for these guys who they want to advance their own careers, of course, but you don't spend this much time around players in the sport unless you have a deep appreciation for it.
I believe David Bruce was one of Jeremy Avery's high school coaches. Brett Sloan, offensive coordinator over Collins Hill. I mean, there's a big mixture here of coaches, so that's really cool.
Of course, the previous offensive coordinator at Collins Hill, Dante Williams, became Archer coach this past year, finished up his first year there at Archer.
So now Collins Hill is open. Grayson is open. Lowndes is filled with Adam Carter.
Big move there to leave Grayson and go to Lowndes. That's from one pressure cooker to another.
Well, he's got to be used to it at this point. So very, very interested in who gets the job at Grayson, because that roster is going to walk into a pretty good roster. Sure is a lot of people. You know, maybe Lenny Gregory comes back from Collins Hill to Grayson.
Could be very interesting to see. Ooh. Big hit that time.
Cedartown there.
Yeah, that absolutely was. You're talking about Tay Harris. The defensive back out of Cedartown. You could hear that all the way up here. Natural sound.
There's no more.
No more. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, that's a big-time hit, but you grow up in the house of Scott Cochran. That hit not going to face you there.
Exactly. Listen, that's just been par for the course for an entire life.
That man, it's been a loud voices eating cereal in the morning at 7 a.m. at his house. Bo Cochran is seasoned to playing physical football. I can assure you that.
My guess is there's not a lot of sleep until like 9:30 in the morning at the Cochran household. If we can certainly picture what he's been like around college football for as long as he has been.
You know, all these coaches get a chance to watch their kids. Buster Faulkner, Scott Cochran, Matt Luke. You see all these guys. Getting a chance to watch their kids. I saw Scott Cochran in the stands at the state championship game, and the opening kickoff of the state championship game was an inadvertent onside kick. It didn't go far enough, but Bo Cochran recovered it. So he almost started the state championship game as a freshman on the recovery.
And obviously apropos for a Cochran to make a play on special teams like that. 14 seconds left there in our half. We got some great stuff coming up for you at halftime. But a little bit of football to take care of before we get there, including a catch that time by, that's actually Nathan Egamang from Heritage who comes and makes the catch.
A 6'4" freshman wide receiver. Look at him go up and high point that. That is a 6'4" freshman wide receiver.
First catch of the game there for Egamang. One of those jersey switches that took place prior to the game. We almost ended up with 2 24s in offense, and so Egamang was supposed to wear 24, ended up wearing 25, and we were able to kind of split that up there.
All right, so here we're at the 45. He's got the arm to turn this loose. Can they give him a time to let the receivers get deep? I want to see him turn.
I'd like to see this too. It's Walker Kirkland, the quarterback from Wesleyan. Wesleyan, a private school in the Norcross area. Kirkland looking for time, going to get rid of it, but never quite got the grip on it that he wanted.
Can have his hand.
And that's going to bring our half to a conclusion. So we've seen a lot of good football, and athletes have been on display here really on both sides of these teams. And so you understand right now why they call it the Georgia Elite Classic. Truly elite young names on their way to bright football futures. We're happy to showcase them for you tonight. So it's halftime coming up, then second half action after that. Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us on Peachtree TV.
Welcome to Chicken Salad Chick,
where we offer 12 flavors of chicken salad made from scratch. Have a great day.
With fresh ingredients every day, just for you.
Thank you. I needed this.
I love when they say that. There's no place like the Chick.
Let's get it. Get it.
Yo, you know we're not shooting threes, right?
Definitely not shooting threes. Introducing Gatorlight.
Let's go. Stick and move.
Rapid rehydration.
Ready, Day?
Let's do this, Ryan. Plus a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes.
start quick. Watch out. You rehydrate well, too.
Gatorlyte, rapid rehydration, all G.
The Georgia Elite Classic is sponsored by Score Atlanta, your source for Georgia high school sports. HendrickCars.com. Experience the Hendrick difference. The National Signing Day Frenzy. Celebrate Georgia's seniors and the next stages of their careers. And by Peachtree TV, Atlanta's own.
And welcome to the halftime show brought to you by Rick Hendrick Chevrolet Duluth. I'm Kaylee Mansell with special guest public information officer here in Rome, Georgia. It is Doug Walker. Now, Doug, can you fill me in a little bit on what are your responsibilities being public information officer?
Well, public information officer, I respond to queries from the media, both print and broadcast. Most recently, I got a call last week from a TV station in Birmingham and spent my Friday drive home talking with a producer there about PFAS.
And speaking of media, you spent time as the associate editor of the Rome News Tribune here. So talk a little bit about your time there and how it really connected you to the community.
Well, that was 12 years at the Rome News Tribune. I'm a people person. I like to think I'm a people person.
You don't say.
and I enjoy getting out with folks, and I've just always been involved with the community in terms of covering the community. Before I was with the newspaper, I was with the local radio station group as a news director for about 25 years. And, you know, I'm not one of those guys that sits in an office when a story happens. I actually go out there to it. And I like to get involved. I like to meet people.
And with that, I am going to put you on the spot because I know you have background in newspaper and radio. So right now, I need you to come up with a headline on the spot for Georgia Elite Classic being held in Rome, Georgia. But I need you to do it in your radio voice.
Oh, in the radio voice? Okay. That would be Commissioner Randy Quick would be better for that. But I would say welcome to Rome, Georgia, 400 of the top young athletes in the state.
That's awesome. And now, for the last one, we touched on this all day long, but I really just want to take time to highlight some of the tourist attractions that we do have here in Rome. So if you had to bring someone along with you for the day that's never been to Rome, what would you take them to do?
We got to move now.
That is a tough question, but I think I would take them to Chieftain's Museum, which was the home of the Cherokee Major Ridge. I think Rome has a rich, rich, rich Native American history, and that story probably doesn't get told as completely, certainly, as it could be. Major Ridge would have been the chief of the Cherokee, but he could not speak English, so he ceded that to John Ross. And he and Ross, you know, I was in Rome 20 years before I realized that Ridge lived on one side of the Eustanola River and Ross lived on the other. So while Calhoun and New Echota gets credit for the capital of the Cherokee Nation, all of the power was here in Rome.
Well, I think it's funny that for about 30 seconds there, you kept that radio voice, and then I heard you transition back into that. But I agree with you. I've been to the museum before. I do think it's a great attraction here that doesn't get enough attention. Doug, thank you so much for coming on. It's really been my honor. Guys, make sure to stay tuned. We've got more coming back up right after the break.
Peachtree TV is your home of the College Park Skyhawks. Don't miss it as your Skyhawks take on the Lakeland Magic in high-action, high-speed G League basketball. Saturday at 6:30 on Atlanta's own Peachtree TV.
I'm Monica Pearson, and we're taking the show on the road to the Atlanta Music Project for a holiday concert you don't want to miss. And I go one-on-one with the founders who are inspiring the next generation of musicians. Saturday night at 10 on Peachtree TV.
Get ready for 4 days only, Friday through Monday. Find valuable Rooms to Go New Year's sale bonus coupons in your newspaper, online, or on your Rooms to Go app. 4 days of extra savings. 4 days of coupons that will save you big on great-looking furniture. 4 days of can't-miss deals. Plus, to make buying even easier, finance your furniture interest-free for 55 months. But don't wait. You only have 4 days to save even more with bonus coupon savings at Rooms to Go.
And welcome back to our Rick Hendrick Chevrolet Duluth halftime show. I'm Kelly Mansell with Rome Sports Director Ann Hortman. Now, Ann, you are really the backbone of this weekend. You truly do not get enough credit for how many things you put into play here. So tell me a little bit about what it is that you do as Rome Sports Athletic Director.
Well, thank you very much,
You're
Kayla.
welcome.
I appreciate that. A lot of the things that we do are based on hospitality. So hosting is our heritage here. So it's all about keeping these 400 boys entertained and with the food. We have to feed them lunch and dinner and making sure they're well taken care of with hotels and everything. So,
And what other events does Rome have coming up in regards to sports?
Let's get moving a little bit.
we have a lot coming up, especially like in the first quarter of next year. We have a women's professional tennis tournament that comes into Rome, and our winner from this past year made it to the semifinals of Wimbledon.
Oh, wow.
So you can come to Rome and watch the stars playing in our backyard. And then in March, we have our international wheelchair professional tennis tournament coming in. And then we're hosting, I think, the Georgia High School Track and Field Championships this year and the Georgia High School Tennis Championships.
Now, since you do specialize in hospitality, I'm really excited to hear your answer. Doug got it as well, but for someone who hasn't been to Rome before, what would you take them to do all day and why?
Oh, gosh. Well, Rome has a lot to offer. I would probably start with downtown because there's a lot to do downtown, shopping and dining. And Myrtle Hill Cemetery is one of my favorite places in Rome. It's where the Romans rest.
And there's so much history there, too. Like, I remember Dad taking me up. I actually took my graduation pictures there. And as long as you don't view it as spooky, it can really be a beautiful place. And there's so much history there.
Exactly. We have a First Lady of the United States buried there, Ellen Axon Wilson. Jim Morrison's grandparents are buried there. And we have a most unusual grave there. I'll show it to you sometime. It's the burial site of Human Bunny.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll leave that one up to your imagination.
Well, and we'll have to talk about that more offset. I would love for you to give me the grand tour. But again, we just want to thank you all so much. You don't get enough credit for how much you do here, so I want to go ahead and
it's our pleasure.
Thank you so much. Now it's back to Brandon and Rusty.
Kaylee, thank you so much, and great job by you all season long, manning that host position, talking to so many of the great, interesting folks we come in contact with when we do games like this. Kaylee, it's been a great pleasure working with you here this year, and obviously great pleasure working with you there, Rusty, there as well. What a fun year this has been, and what a fun first half we saw between these freshmen and sophomores as part of this Georgia Elite Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the way I expected. The sophomores could run the ball at any time. But these freshmen, they can strike at any time.
Let's take a look at our halftime stats here, brought to you by Gatorade. By the way, you see the score, sophomores 21, freshmen 7. As far as how we got there on that, 15 first downs to 4. You look at the rushing yards. That's one of the things that sophomore team just so capable of doing is really grinding out those yards on the ground.
That time possession. I think you're going to see Tucker Pruitt with a little bit more of a lead. He's going to be able to do some things. They're going to throw it around a little bit as offensive coordinator. I think we're going to have more offensive possessions for both teams in the second half.
Once again, those first half stats brought to you by Gatorade. By the way, 3 of 3 on third down. That also looms large for that sophomore team there as well. Now let's see some of those great first half highlights, including the touchdown run here to kind of get things going. And then how about that by Peyton Zachary, the terrific wide receiver for the freshman team. A very explosive play.
Yeah, you look at Parker, the running back from East Paul. He's got a good half. Zachary out of Kell. You look at Josiah Abdullah out of Woodward Academy. He's been a big weapon. But here's the play right here. I thought A.J. Hill, Whittington out of Habersham Central, beats him off the line of scrimmage and scores a touchdown, does a little dance, and call it a half.
Oh, and listen, we've seen some fantastic action here. Great quarterback play there. And obviously those wide receivers getting involved too. In fact, we'll go ahead and get ready to get going here with second half action. Now, if you're just joining us, we'll explain kind of how this works. One of the things that you're seeing here that's a little bit different than high school football typically is the fact we are doing an NFL rule with a 2-minute warning. And the other thing is, this is pretty common for all-star games for those of you who've attended them before, or if you've attended, like, say, spring football games at the college level. We're not doing live special teams. So it ends up being kind of a fun way to see some of the big guys, the linemen, get a chance to catch balls, and kind of a great way for them to show off a little bit different side of their athletic profile, including right there the opportunity exists, but not able to bring that one in. But nonetheless, it's the freshman team going to get a chance to go on offense here to begin our third quarter.
Got to work on tracking the ball a little bit as these big guys, but
yeah, if you don't see that being delivered from such a long way away, if you don't see that, it's the kind of thing you're not quite so used to. So, by the way, the city of Rome, Floyd County, so nice to us as far as rolling out the red carpet. Gracious host for this event once again. Of course, Rome High School here too. Barron Stadium, the stadium the Rome Wolves call home.
Yeah, some big games here. I look at this stadium and I always think You know, my dad took me here in 1985 to see West Rome play Central Carrollton. West Rome had not been scored on in 12 games. Central Carrollton scored on a picked interception, and I just remember as a 12-year-old thinking there was 50,000 people here, and it was like this place erupted. But West Rome went on to win their 4th state championship that year. But kind of fueled me for what I was going to do in my lifetime.
Quarterback sack to begin the third quarter here as C.J. Kelly from out of Carrollton comes over and gets that sack.
C.J. Kelly on the stop.
And how about the story of Carrollton in 7A this year, by the way?
I told Joey King, never appeal again to go back down. Hey, you got dudes, but you're up there now, big boy. You played in game 15. Talk about Cade Whittington a little bit. South Paulden freshman quarterback, Kason Wiseman, senior quarterback, just committed to Colorado. Madden Sanker, young man that I know these two kids well, and they were all over me saying, this is the next guy. Rusty, you got to get him in that game, got to get him in that game. And I appreciate those two kids. Madden Sanker down in Orlando at the Under Armour game. And
wow, how about that?
What a catch.
Zachary, the one-handed catch. As Rusty was telling you, Cade Whittington in at quarterback right now. And Zachary, man, he puts on a show.
Man, he is. I mean, I'm telling you, when you see him, you're like, this kid almost 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
As a freshman.
He had a huge game tonight. We saw him at the Corky Kell Classic.
He is.
But really maintained that pace for most of the year.
He's going to be a handful. And they start the season off against Parkview, Mike Matthews, and all those guys. It's going to be a great matchup.
A lot of fun.
It's going to be a great matchup in the Corky Kell.
How many players in the state next year you think are better than Mike Matthews out of Parkview on really both sides of the ball?
Not many. Not many. But I will say this. The offensive and defensive line in the state of Georgia is as deep as I've ever seen it. It's as deep as I've ever seen it. The state's been down a little bit, defensive linemen. That's over. 24, 25, Edric Houston, Elias Williams, Elijah Griffin out of Savannah's number one. I mean, there's 5-star type guys that are coming up in this next two classes. But when you look at the offensive line prospects, a young man that's not here, he's playing basketball, Juan Gadsden out of Westlake, 6'7", to add to these guys here. Excited about the 24 and 25 class.
So 2nd A, handoff. Not much doing there at the line of scrimmage. Whole host of sophomores there to bring him down.
So big 77, there's Christian Garrett. He wins a state championship, and I asked his coach, one of his good coaches on the sideline, I said, he goes, Rusty, you know he doesn't know he's in the game. And I said, I've invited him. He goes, well, he told me today, so I got to play good. Rusty's going to be here, so I want to invite. So as soon as the game's over, I waited about 5 minutes. Honest to God story. I walk up to him. He just won the state championship. I said, Christian, great game. Congratulations. By the way, you got an invite to Georgia Elite class. Young man picks me up.
Oh, that's great.
Picks me up.
That's great to see. Pressure coming again. I mean, absolutely relentless from the sophomore team here right now.
Caleb, that's at
Amari Wilson at Colquitt County.
Colquitt County. They love him. They think he's the next guy. He's been great in practice. Defensive end for them.
Colquitt County got a new helmet, too. Didn't they used to have the Packers logo on the side of it? It would be like the Packers.
They're probably like Oregon and got 3 or 4 different ones. So they probably got a CC and a Packers. But
they may very well.
They've got a loaded team coming out. Sean Calhoun as well.
That's another team that's probably going to be in a little bit of a bad mood coming back here for this year. You know, listen, there are a lot of places in Georgia high school football where it's either celebrate state championship or talk about what went wrong.
Hey,
and Colquitt County is kind of one of those places.
You got to play in game 15. You're going to be on the Christmas float in Moultrie. And Sean Calhoun understands that.
So sophomores getting ready to go back on offense here. We'll take a quick timeout and come back and show you right after this. It's the Georgia Elite Classic here on Peachtree TV.
What's the biggest sales event of the year? Why, it's Toyotathon, of course, and it's at Beaver Toyota. Watch this. We have tons of fresh new inventory. Shop online where you can chat live with the product specialist, watch a live walk-around video of any vehicle, obtain our lowest price, and value your trade-in within minutes. Get financing, too. Don't forget, we can deliver your new Toyota within hours. You save time, and you save money. The biggest sale of the year and the very best way to buy your next vehicle, only at Beaver Toyota and Cumming.
I'm attorney Ken Nugent. If you're hurt and trying to choose a law firm, here are some questions you need to ask. Can I sign up online? You can with us. Do they have their own app that allows me to handle all aspects of my case from home? We do. Have they developed artificial intelligence to maximize the value of every case? We have. So when you see those lawyer ads making promises, remember, there's only one call, that's all.
Call 1-800-CALL-KEN.
I'm the one they call James Bates, but my real name is Batesy. Portraits, where we feature some of the more colorful characters in all the world of sports.
And as I got older, I was like, hold up, I can make a little money off this name.
I didn't know that there was a path to me playing in the NFL.
I was like, yeah, I wouldn't have offered me either.
I get chills hearing that.
Thank you, Atlanta.
Thank you, Atlanta.
Thank you, Atlanta. 8,000 angels adopted thanks to your generosity. Atlanta News First and the Salvation Army providing thousands of local families with gifts this holiday season.
Thank you so much. We could have done none of this season without you, and our families will be blessed because of you.
Thank you, Atlanta.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
The Georgia Elite Classic is sponsored by First Alert Weather app powered by Atlanta News First. Download the app in the App Store. The Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame, Georgia's newest football tradition. The Score Atlanta High School Sports Newsletter. Subscribe today for everything Georgia High School sports. And by Wendy's. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Welcome back, everybody. It's our Georgia Elite Classic. We're live here, Barron Stadium in Rome. Sophomores up 21-7, and they got the football again here as we're still relatively early third quarter of play. Hand off to,
I tell you, he's tough.
LaFayette. Yeah, he's had a big night. He's been tough. Tommy LaFayette, the running back out of Lambert there.
I'm telling you, man, he Tucker Pruitt last night stood on the table for him, and I see why. He is hard to get to the ground. It's like he leans for 5.
2nd 4 now. Throgmorton back at quarterback.
Gabe Brooks.
Yeah, LaFayette going to be met in the backfield that time.
Cam Brooks.
Yeah, as Rusty said.
Now, you want to know a name. You look at him, and I've done this long enough. You look at Cam Brooks, and come May, he will have 15 offers. He's a 6'3" defensive end outside linebacker.
Yeah. Out of Thomas County Central, one of the great stories.
He had a great year. This kid right here will be a nationally known name sooner than later. Look at him play that play. Look at that. Look at that play. So he recognizes the tackle going down, release, understands there's going to be a screen behind him, and he stops and almost picks the ball off.
Great description of how that played out there.
See that? He recognized, he stopped. They wanted him to run upfield, but he didn't. Justin Rogers, those guys down there, David Winden, recruiting coordinator, they do a great job at Thomas County Central first year.
Yeah, one of the great turnarounds in Georgia high school football this season.
Yep.
So that's 4th down after the nice play by Brooks.
He is going to be a national recruit.
So that'll bring on a punting situation here. So one of the things you're going to give the freshmen some credit for is, they've gotten some stops when they've needed it.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I told you, once they settled in and realized, hey, look, we can play with these guys, don't think they were intimidated at all. It just takes a little while to get going because you haven't seen that size all week.
Connor Deviney.
It's still dead ball. But
so Deviney's punt going to go dead there at the 35-yard line. By the way, our Georgia Elite Classic scoreboard is presented by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Let's go back and look at the rest of the day here earlier. In the 8th grade game, the national team got the best of the American team. What kind of 8th grade talent did you see here today, Rusty?
Brandon, absolutely blown away. I can't tell you the amount of people that have stopped me today, that have texted me like, what is going on with 8th graders in Georgia? Like, it was incredible game.
Good game between the seniors as the 38-36 final there.
Yep.
And then the game that took place right before ours, the American team on the junior side got the 14-10 win, and there was a lot of passion on really both sides of that game.
Yep.
You think this game doesn't mean a lot to these players? They were both fired up
That's
by
right.
that.
That's right.
By the way, that brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. It's Zachary again. Boy, Zachary does something every time he touches the football, and he dances around there and gets across midfield.
I'm telling you, I can say it all day. That's Isaiah McKenzie. That's exactly what he does, and he plays for the Buffalo Bills. And people are going to knock Peyton a little bit on his side. Doesn't matter to me. This kid is a playmaker. Colleges won't care. I picked up Louisville last night. He already has Western Kentucky. His offer list is going to continue to grow. He works with Stephon Brown, a guy who trains a lot of NFL wide receivers, top shelf training.
Harrison Faulkner back in at quarterback out of North Oconee. That's a pass complete to Braden Rouse. First catch of the game. Another Kell receiver, by the way.
They got some young guys there. They're excited about their young guys.
Rouse did have 5 receptions in varsity play here this year, so got a chance to be involved in that offense a bit.
Yep. You see a lot of rotation right here, offensive line.
Second down.
You see the unusual running back number that Hunter White's wearing, number 60. He's the tailback right now. Faulkner getting rid of it. Leaping catch. How about that? At the 20-yard line, and then going down. Who else? Peyton Zachary. What a night he's had.
You see that start and stop on him when he caught that ball in space. And what a play by Harrison Faulkner. I love that Harrison Faulkner comes in, keeps his eyes down the field, he jump throws that.
Also, it's one of those things, and I've heard you say this before, even though he kind of leaves his feet to make the throw, that's still kind of stepping into the pocket, right?
No doubt. He's climbing the pocket there, keeping his eyes down the field.
In the red zone here, presented by Chicken Salad Chick.
Play there.
And, the running back completely tied up. That's Hunter White out of Calhoun, but nowhere for him to go. Part of the reason that's the case. Nice play defensively by C.J. Kelly.
Like C.J. Kelly, I've had him in a couple of camps. Coach King really high on him. I'm telling you, bad news for the state of Georgia. Carrollton is loaded with freshmen and sophomores, and it's not just Juju Lewis.
Got a chance to talk to Chas Chambliss today for a minute and asked him if he'd been paying attention to what Carrollton had done in 7A. He said he'd been enjoying that, so his alma mater representing well.
A lot of pride.
Faulkner dancing around, still going to get rid of it.
Oh.
Doing a pretty good job keeping the play alive there. White was the intended receiver.
What I like about Faulkner right here is everything's collapsing in around him, and he's still trying to keep his eyes down the field and make a play.
Timeout green.
So the freshman team's got to take a timeout here.
And we got to be off the air at some point.
That's right. We have obviously some fun coming up here, but we'll get you back to regular programming coming up at 9 p.m. tonight. So keep your mind on that. But we're having a great time tonight watching the Georgia League Classic as it unfolds, with a 3rd and 15 coming up in a situation where Jeremy Avery and his freshman team want to talk this over.
Love talking to the senior group. Galen Hancock, one of the kids here from locally, Rome, and all played in this freshman game, and they started a group Snapchat 4 years ago, and they still have one going. And that's what this is about.
You on Snapchat, Rusty? You're Mr. Social Media. Are you on Snapchat?
You know what? I have Snapchat, and I promise you right now, I have zero idea how to use it. Zero idea.
I think I had an account for a minute, but I wouldn't even know how to find it.
At some point, you have to kind of follow recruits, and at some point, it's in time to see what they're posting. But for like $1 million in cash, I don't think I could even post a snap if that's what it is.
Faulkner again. Moving to his left. Now trying to open up the end zone. Going to throw it.
Oh.
He had a chance that time to connect, but unable to.
Got a flag down.
He's not able to hit his tight end, Zach Weeks, again.
We've got a hold.
Got holding on green.
Holding the call against the freshman.
I'm feeling him.
I like it.
I'm feeling him. It's late in December.
He doesn't have any time for any nonsense.
He's
I'm all about.
He is. He had to call of the night. He's down. And he was down.
And I will once again say the red and gray uniforms make for a nice Christmas motif here. If I could use a word like motif.
So I talked to the freshman team yesterday. I said, listen, guys, no matter what number you get, don't worry about it. This is just one game. I didn't take into account that one of our running backs will wear number 60.
Oh, yeah.
But I do appreciate him doing that. And
they still change numbers like 5 times.
Yeah, they tried to. They tried to.
I've had to throw my original roster away.
Yes, yes.
Faulkner again on 3rd down. Got to hurry. Trying to set up the screen.
Man, they had that set up.
Faulkner's pass falls incomplete.
Did DeBruce, the running back, did he fall down on that? Is that what happened?
Yes, and then pressure got to Faulkner a little quicker than he wanted to. You got to at least knock him off a little bit. They just had a couple free release. Doesn't give the play long enough to develop.
KJ DeBruce, of course, had a coffee.
Coach Coe down there, they do a good job. They're
great program.
They're really starting to get their kids into more stuff like this and exposure. He hit me up on several of their kids, and I saw them this summer at Bleckley County at a paddy camp, and that is one big football team, coffee.
What are the challenges for these teams kind of, south of Atlanta when you start thinking about, we had to play from Moultrie driving up here. The travel concerns to be a part of something like this, a little bit of a challenge for some of those players.
Well, yeah, and we give them time, and I really try to not cater. I mean, I really try to take into account, listen, Colquitt County. Yeah, Colquitt County's going to send me a player, send 2 players. We're going to get those guys in.
That's right.
You look at Southeast Bullock, Brett Osborne was the head coach about 4 hours away there in Booklet, Georgia. So, I really try to take these kids that don't get a chance to be on TV.
Yeah,
that's
right.
the biggest sell. Listen, I can sell Rome, Georgia all day long and how sweet and nice it is. But what separates this game, this format, is putting these kids on TV.
I think it's exactly right.
And that is so important. If I'm going to spend my time involved in this, I wanted this game on TV. I.J. Rosenberg, Score Atlanta got it done, and that's what's important. And now we were televising the 8th grade game, and I'm telling you, it was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, that's great. I love the way the event has grown, and I love showcasing these players. As Hill's back in at quarterback. Handoff once again to Parker. Parker's already had a good day today. Touchdown earlier.
Javen Parker with the carry. Short gain.
I believe that's James Morrow, defensive end there from Buford. He's the next one. See him there, 82. He's going to have, I think he's got 4 or 5 offers. He's going to continue to have offers. If you remember Paul Mabinga, who committed to LSU this year at the right tackle, his brother Ben Mabinga is in here, defensive lineman from Buford. He's going to be another one of those freshman guys.
2 minutes, 12 seconds to go to our third quarter. Hill cranking up throwing. Pass caught.
Good job holding him up, letting your guys get to him.
Yeah, gets to about the 18 that time. Nice catch by Caden Adderhold out of South Gwinnett.
Pass completed to Caden Adderhold from South Gwinnett.
A couple of representatives from the South Gwinnett Comets here in this game out of Snellville, Georgia. Just in the shadow of Stone Mountain.
That is Mike Worthington, strength conditioning coach there at Cedartown. That's who Nick Chubb works out with. All these kids at Cedartown that come home to work out. CJ Washington. And everybody talks about the Cedartown kids look different. That's the guy. That's the only guy that Nick Chubb has ever trained with. And he'll come home here in a couple of weeks, and he'll be working out 4 days a week with Coach Worthington at Cedartown.
Boy, that's a great story. Great to see that. And great job spotting and telling our audience about that, too.
Yep. They work hard in their weight room, and we got a freshman here. But, that relationship between Nick and Coach Worthington right there, they are extremely, extremely close. And, I've said this story before. A lot of people pressured Nick Chubb to train, in Florida, train in Arizona and all that. And Nick Chubb said, I'm training in Cedartown, and I'm training with a guy that I've trained with since I was in 5th or 6th grade. And that's Coach Worthington and what he's done.
The idea that Chubb would remain loyal to where he came from, one of the least surprising things you'd ever hear.
Just, it hadn't hurt him a bit.
Yeah, no, not at all. By the way, had to fall on that football was Hill. A little bit of an odd snap there.
They got a sand pit there at Cedartown. They call it PCB, Polk County Beach. I can tell you right now, Rusty Mansell is not going to be in that PCB.
No, you're not doing any sunbathing in that beach.
Not going to be in that beach.
So 7 yards of the lost play on the botch snap. We'll make it second 17. Coming up on the end of the third quarter here. Hill, pressure coming.
Great call if they block it.
Yeah, gets it away. Nice screen play that time. Set it up for Javen Parker.
Flag down, too.
We'll see what the call is. If it's on the offense, that'll end the quarter. If it's on the defense, we'll get an untimed down. They're going to say.
Just got a text message from Score Atlanta, president, owner, IJ Rosenberg. A lot of people texting, asking, where can you rewatch these games? About 2 weeks, they'll all be on YouTube.
Okay, great.
So go to Score Atlanta YouTube. You can subscribe, find it. So all the replays for every game today will be on Score Atlanta YouTube.
That's great to know. Great to know for sure. So the flag's going to be waved off here. So with that, that'll end the third quarter. It's 21-7 sophomores over freshmen. We'll come back and show you fourth quarter action right after this on Peachtree TV.
Welcome to Chicken Salad Chick.
I've been looking for love. I forgot what I missed, but I remember that high. The first thing I'd say, this is pure, this is perfect. Something nothing else can do, just you. So give me you.
There's no place like the Chick.
Sweetheart, please don't forget to wear your seatbelt.
I got it, Mom.
It's a very nice day, living in the right space. Breathing your grace, got me feeling some kind of way.
In the blink of an eye, so many tomorrows can disappear. Buckle up for your future, every trip, every time. A message from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Hendrick, you're ready for a new truck or SUV, but actually finding what you want is really tough right now. Well, Hendrick has it. Visit HendrickCars.com and shop over 10,000 new and pre-owned vehicles from our nationwide inventory. We have all of your favorite trucks and SUVs, with more arriving daily. If you don't see the exact one you're looking for, no problem. We can order it and have it built exactly how you want it. Your search for your next vehicle ends right here. Shop HendrickCars.com.
The Georgia Elite Classic is sponsored by McDonald's. Brought to you by Greater Atlanta Area McDonald's. Download the app for great deals. Smart Local 85. Get your sheet together. The Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Seatbelts save lives. The Governor's Office of Highway Safety reminds you to buckle up before every trip. And by Prada Pest Management, the official pest control of Atlanta.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Fourth quarter action about to get underway. Sophomores lead the freshmen 21-7 in our Georgia Elite Classic. This is a tremendous all-star game, pitting the best of the class of 2025 against the freshman class of 2026. Almost in a throwback situation. Now it is throwing back to the quarterback. Hill's going to get a chance to run it. Boy, look at his athleticism. Still on his feet past midfield. So how about that?
The pass back goes to
Yeah, I saw him run that play yesterday.
So Hill throws to Josiah Abdullah.
Yep.
And then Abdullah throws back.
Yep. Saw him run that play. I don't know if they're going, did that ball bounce?
At this point, let's just say no.
Okay, let's don't challenge it.
It almost reminds me, we saw the throwback play last year with JoJo Stone and Grayson in this game, and now Stone had played some quarterback for Grayson. So,
yep. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yep.
You bring out the trick plays in games like this.
Fourth quarter, time to turn one on.
Hand off again. That's Parker.
Like his burst, man.
Still on his feet. Look at that extra gear. Out of bounds to the 31-yard line.
He's quick.
18 on the carry for Parker.
Javen Parker on the carry.
Really like what I've seen out of him this week. This young man will be on the recruiting front real quick.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I guess kind of look for is just the way in which you're going to hit the hole, the speed of that kind of first move, and clearly Parker seems to have that.
Doesn't waste any time. Good vision.
Is there any kind of college attention forming for him as of yet?
Not sure, but there will be, because here's the thing. He can play 3 downs. He can run between the tackles, catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, we've seen him involved in the passing game here today. Hill, the handoff to Parker again.
How quick he hits
this time, kind of lowering his shoulder, too, showing you a little bit of that power. Did he stay on his feet?
Yep, runs hard, ran through it right there.
Javen Parker off the left side.
He has a touchdown already today, 10 during the season. For a very good South Ball team.
We'll take a minute here before the game gets out, get too late. Want to give a shout out to our 2 Score Atlanta interns. Worked for me also MVP camps of the year. Lacey Daniel, who's a senior down at Noonan, and Emma Johnson, who's a junior at Marietta High School. Those 2 young ladies been up here all weekend working, handing out jerseys, helping registration. They've been with us since the 7-on-7 this summer and helped with the Georgia High School Hall of Fame, and just really appreciate what they do.
Well said indeed. Hill rolling right, throwing, pass, caught, tied in there at the 25-yard line. That's Sam Wooten at a Christian Heritage.
Yeah, he's had a really good game. He plays linebacker primarily, but he also had a really good game here at tight end.
A host of freshmen on the tackle.
Coming under 12 minutes to go in our game and our finale for the season here on Peachtree TV. Of course, the start of a busy football weekend here in Atlanta. Peach Bowl tomorrow. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a lot of our audience getting ready to watch Georgia and Ohio State. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. You can tell it's the week after Christmas. I'm losing track of my days. Tomorrow's Friday. The game is on Saturday.
Yeah, man. I didn't even realize the day was Thursday, to be honest, when I woke up this morning. I just knew I had to be here.
Hill throwing. Ooh, almost connected. Abdullah not able to hold on to that, though.
Our good buddy Dave Hunter just texted me, watching the game, and Coach, miss you.
We do.
Love you. Can't wait to see you again. Get back in this spring and get back to having you out here with us. One of the best ones, man.
Big fan of Coach Hunter.
Man, those stories were sitting there. I could sit down and listen to Coach Hunter tell. I mean, he's told me the same story 3 times, and I don't even stop it. It gets better every time, and love talking to him about coaching the Georgia-Florida team and going down to Valdosta and those state championships with Brookwood, those big games they had down there in the 90s.
Connor Deviney going to come on and try a 42-yard field goal. Just missed his earlier attempt. I believe it was from the same distance. No rush. Kick away. Going to be no, it's good.
Yeah.
He got it. I thought it might be an eyelash short, but no, it's through and good. That is a 4-pointer, by the way.
Yep. So
that's 25-7.
That's the Rusty Mansell rule.
I like it.
It gives you a little
rocket jock challenge type thing.
A little difference.
All right, so 25-7 is our score. You never see that in a football game, but that's our score right now. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and show you 4th quarter action as we continue on Peachtree TV.
Mattress Month at Rooms to Go ends January 1st, New Year's Day. The last day, your last chance to get amazing mattress buys. Like a king-size mattress for the price of a queen mattress, starting at just $777 in your choice of 3 great brands. Or get this therapeutic queen mattress for just $297. Save on other mattresses from the best brands. Queen size sale price only $577. Just hurry, because Mattress Month at Rooms to Go ends Sunday, New Year's Day.
Every day, we look for ways to improve our processes in order to deliver to you, our precious customer, the very best sales and service experience in the world. From our super facility to our amazing staff, everything we do is for you. So with hopes of improving your experience even more, we're announcing we'll be closing the store on Sundays, beginning the 1st of the year. We believe that well-rested team members will provide you with the world-class experience you deserve. Beaver Toyota, we're gonna wow you, just not on Sunday.
Atlanta weather is a hot mess. There's always something to watch out for.
We all know what a drop of rain does to your drive.
That's why you need a weather team that puts you first.
With First Alert Weather.
Your first alert minutes before it gets to your house.
Hours before it hits the highways.
Days before it threatens. We are the most accurate team
with the most weather experts.
So you have more time to prepare.
We are Atlanta News First, and this is why we First Alert.
All right, welcome back, everybody. 42-yard field goal from Connor Deviney a moment ago gives us a new score. You know, there's a phrase in the NFL, sometimes they call it scorigami, when you have these unique scores that have never happened before. I don't know if 25-7 stands as a scorigami for the Georgia League Classic, but it's got to be close.
Well, Barron Stadium's been playing here since 1929. That might be the first 25-7 game ever.
Of course, Rusty, who has a say in some of the rules of this game, has designated that a 4-point field goal.
Yep. It creates incentive to not just go for it on 4th and 8.
I like it.
If you're in the look at him.
At the 1-yard line, it will be brought out to the 30.
A lot of fun there.
Start play.
See, if I had the power that you do to kind of make the rules, I'd be shouting out the window right now and just kind of changing things on the fly, reorganizing the teams, or just I'd be leading into that power. Credit to you for not.
Good job here by Jeremy Avery, one of Robin's head coach here for the freshmen. A lot of players working kids in.
Yeah, they've done a good job getting guys in.
They're playing as many kids as possible.
For sure.
Yep, he's done a good job.
So, new quarterback in the game. Also a pass caught there as well. Jude Cascone out of Marist gets the catch.
Yeah, I really like him. Freshman All-American, played in the Adidas Freshman All-American game a couple weeks ago in Naples.
So Dream Rashad out of Buford in at quarterback right now.
Yep, got a brother named Seven Rashad, who was an 8th grader today, had a really good day as well. But
so once again, an example of Buford being well represented in a game like this, as you certainly would expect. Rashad still in quarterbacks. We've had a running back wear 60, a quarterback wear 35. Yeah. It's like a spring training baseball game right now.
Well, when you got this many players, jerseys become limited numbers.
I was actually very impressed with the roster turnout for both these teams. You're talking about, I believe, in excess of 70 players on the freshman team.
I think we wound up with 59.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually take about 45, but again, so many players. The practice for that amount of kids was more important than the actual game tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
We want to see those kids, and we had a lot of people that watched the freshman practice to see the new names and watch these guys compete.
Yeah, really impressed by the huge turnout here on both these teams. Rashad going to go down. He is going to be sacked. Big play defensively to make that happen. How about Thomas Hernandez coming out on Lanier?
Yeah, he just kind of comes off the right edge there and just blows through a double team.
Of course, the Maloof coaching legacy continues at Lanier right now.
About that.
First-year coach out of that lineage of Maloof coaches. Tyler Maloof?
Tyler Maloof.
3rd and 16 now after the sack. Rashad going to crank it up again. He got a guy there. He tried to go up and get it, wasn't able to bring it down. Adderhold was the intended receiver again. Actually, let me correct myself. C.J. Gamble. So looking at 4th down here coming up.
It's hard to believe we are 6 minutes away from officially ending high school football for 2022 in Georgia. It's been a great year.
It has been, and I was thinking back on it. We just wait for such a long time for the year, right? Months and months and months. And Rusty, I know you have felt that way for a number of years. And then you blink your eye, and here we are at the Georgia Elite Classic here once again. And I just can't tell you how much I enjoy the time I get to spend doing these high school football games with you and our crew that works on this. And, you and I both have day jobs that we're doing. We're not here doing these high school games. And I tell you, I look forward to what we do together as much as anything.
Oh, man,
and
awesome.
I just don't think, and I wish we could one day kind of really shine the light on this. I just don't think how many people really fully understand the entirety of the crew that it takes to put something like this together. It's amazing.
Schools tell me that when our production team pulls up from Peachtree TV and they realize there's 20 guys. These guys get to the schools at 1 o'clock on Friday. Roddy White, our producer, he goes out a week ahead of time, scouts out everything, shows you where you can park, and there's just so many people involved to be able to. You just don't throw up a camera and get a signal.
No, that's right. And I think the other thing, and you have to have a certain kind of personality to be a producer like Roddy is. It takes a lot of patience, and you have to have a lot of, calmness about you, because it's sort of like flying a plane. You're kind of off target about 90% of the way until you finally are. And, several hours before a game, there's almost always something going wrong because there's just too many fail points for it not to be the case. And, Roddy and our entire team here, they just carefully, diligently work through it all and get us on the air each and every Friday or here on a Thursday, and we certainly are very appreciative of that. I'm very, very proud to be a part of such a professional team here on Peachtree TV.
It's awesome.
As you see, Tristan Payne did his second catch of the night out of St. Francis.
Good for a first down.
I'll give you an idea of what's going on right now. Head coach Jeremy Avery's texting me. And he's asking for 2 more minutes so he can play a few more players. But that tells you, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he's in it for the right reasons. In it for his players.
Trying to get his kids a few more snaps. And
here we go. Down the sideline and still moving. Tommy LaFayette, who's had a great game, has a great run right there. What a night for LaFayette. A great run and the lowered shoulder and the balance to stay in bounds.
And my man from Pepperell right there, Sam Ross, finished that one off.
He's had some big hits
He's
today.
had some big hits. His older brother, Jake Ross, down there, he was a fantastic football player. Comes from a wrestling family, a couple of state champions, I believe, in their family as well. So excited about that young man. But I'll tell you this, when you go back to that running back right there, what a night he has had, Tommy LaFayette.
Very impressive. Shane Thonmartin in at quarterback, too, by the way. LaFayette, again, going to fight it inside the 15.
So this freshman team will leave here like knowing what they've got to work on. You know, the sophomores know it's their go time now, but they're going to understand, I got to get bigger, I got to stay in the weight room, got to get faster, got to do those things, and they will naturally. But
and for the guys that have held their own, how much confidence do they take back to their campus?
It's huge. And it's not just the guys that make plays, it's the guys that are able to hold themselves in practice.
Exactly.
You know, like, hey, man, I do belong.
Well, just to be able to, go blow for blow, and you see the pass incomplete. Intended receiver that time was Jackson Cook.
Well, you look at a player again, Josh Waymack from Lanier Christian.
Yeah.
He doesn't see anything like this. Do you know what he did? Came up here this weekend, held his own. And he'll take that back to his program and say, listen, guys, So
yeah.
that's important as well.
Anybody who's ever put a football uniform on has dealt with a great deal of self-doubt. At a certain point in time, you just sort of wonder, hey, am I going to be able to do what I want to do? And when you step out here, and when you do compete, and whether you win all the reps or not, when you leave feeling like, yeah, you know what, I held my own, that's the kind of thing you can take with you. Throckmorton going to be dropped for a sack. Brought down on the play that time by Jordan Carter out of Carrollton.
Jordan Carter is going to be the real. I talked about the Thomas County Central defensive end. Jordan Carter is going to be a guy that's going to be able. He's going to be one. Look, you see both of those kids in on that play. And Jordan Carter, defensive end at Carrollton, freshman.
Coming up on 2:35 to go in our game. (24-7). I should say 25-7. The sophomores have the lead of the freshmen. Here's Throckmorton towards the end zone. Pretty good battle for the football that time, and pretty good coverage by
I really like that.
Weston Ard.
What I liked about that is he's not the biggest guy, but you're going to watch. He's going to come back and try to make a play on the ball.
Yeah.
Good job, young man.
Yeah, a couple of different South Gwinnett wide receivers represented here today.
Trying to make a play on the ball. Good job.
So not able to connect. That's going to make for a turnover on downs. And with exactly 2 minutes to go, I guess we'll call this our 2-minute warning here. Whistle will blow. We'll be back to action.
The chance right in front of us here is Brandon Jacobs, former Auburn running back, former New York Giants Super Bowl champion. And when you look at him and his son, Braden Jacobs, is probably 6'6", 290 pounds. Fantastic offensive line prospect. SEC multiple P5 offers, and when your dad's put together like that, you've got some pretty good genes in you. I can
You're getting a pretty good head start.
Yep.
Of course, that Buford program, no stranger to players with NFL pedigree having sons who come through the program too, as we saw this past year.
Got a chance to catch up with Juan Daniels yesterday, and you talking about a great conversation.
Former Georgia wide receiver,
son, quarterback there at Stanford now, Ashton Daniels, and talking about an impressive guy. I've known Juan a little bit, but really got a chance to talk to him yesterday. Just impressive. He got to coach the senior team.
Timeout, Green.
And had fun with that.
All right, so Yeah, while we take the time out here, we'll get a chance to show you the player of the game presented by Rome and Floyd County. And we'll see here, and what a night he has had. Tommy LaFayette, the running back at Lambert, our player of the game presented by Rome and Floyd County. 19 carries, 98 yards, first touchdown of the game. Really setting the tone for these sophomores here today.
He's had a great day and had a great week.
So he'll go back to the Longhorns of, a couple different Longhorns, by the way, represented too. The Longhorns of Lambert. They're in Swanee, Georgia, Forsyth County. And
he doesn't know it, but he's wearing an Earl Campbell tearaway right now.
He is doing that.
He just doesn't know that.
Yeah, that young man's a tough football player.
We'll turn our attention real quick. Saturday night, Mercedes-Benz. You've been in Atlanta this week. What's the buzz?
You know, one of the things that I love about Georgia right now is they look like a team that's been in the playoff before. Sure. They just seem really relaxed. Yep. And, you know, sometimes that can be misleading, and maybe, the game doesn't work out the way the Georgia fans want it to, but this seems like a pretty comfortable football team here right now as the freshman team gets back at it offensively. Brady Marchese getting a chance.
Yep, he played a little bit at Cartersville this year. See all those stickers on his helmet. So
yeah, that's right.
Got some reps.
You know,
he's played in this game before, too.
And to finish the point off we were talking about before, you know, I do think that Ohio State, despite the fact that it lost to Michigan, and everybody knows, you know, how painful that was, you see more pass pressure coming in, and the quarterback going to get dropped that time, so Cade Wiggins had nowhere to throw. You know, this is an Ohio State team that still presents a lot of danger. Yes, they've had injury, opt-out, they've had some things like that, but this is still a dangerous Ohio State team. I have to say that.
You don't talk about one-on-ones in a game of one-on-ones. This game right here will be on the edge. It's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. and Bakke and all those guys.
Yeah,
with Keely Ringgold and Lassiter and those matchups.
Be two teams that are always adjacent the recruiting rankings, always adjacent the regular polls.
Yep.
On the field for the first time since the end of the 1992 season. It's a historic matchup. There is no question about that.
Got a flag down right here, I believe. A little chippy.
All right, let's see our play of the game here. It was from earlier. How about Peyton Zachary? Taking the catch from Harrison Faulkner. Kind of backpedaling there for a moment. Taking the end zone. One of a few highlight type plays for Zachary. The freshman wide receiver, so impressive. And I think a pretty easy pick for our play of the game there, presented by Smart Local 85.
Yeah, you see him, a little smile there. That man's he's had a great freshman year in this freshman season right here. And I know he's playing 7 on. You talking about tough to deal with in 7-on-7? You can't get your hands on him.
Oh, my gosh.
That's not who you want to see on the other team. It's 7-on-7.
Yeah, so obviously picking up here at the end of the season where he left off for most of the season. Very impressive in his first year there with Kell. Part of what was really a dangerous offense. Under a minute to go. It's Rashad back in at quarterback. Pressure coming his way, and he's going to go down. And all of a sudden, we just have this sort of jailbreak pass. These jailbreak pass rushes on every single thing here. I said it before, and I'll reiterate it again. It has been such a pleasure to be a part of your high school football season. For those of you that tune in and watch us on Peachtree TV each and every week, you have no idea how much fun this is for Rusty and me, and all the folks get a chance to do it. It's truly a labor of love, and hearing Rusty kind of talk about some of the coaching and player movement we already have for next season, it makes you really excited about what 2023 is going to look like around here.
It's going to be fun to be here before we know it, but some unfinished business here as we wrap up this weekend, and hopefully a West Coast trip.
That's exactly right. College football is still a long way away from done for the Georgia Bulldogs. A lot of other folks there as well. As the horn sounds and our final play here of the Georgia Elite Classic, cranking up, getting the throw off, and it is going to be an interception to end things off. How about that? To close out with an interception. Congratulations there. Coming over to make the play that time, Elijah Whitaker out of Griffin for the sophomore team. He gets the intercept to close it out. Rusty, I'll say congratulations to you for another very successful Georgia Elite Classic. Love to see this event and the way that it's grown here over the course of its 10 years. And for Kelly Manziel, who you see, and a whole host of folks that you don't see, thank you so much for being a part of what we do each and every week here on high school football. It begins with our Corky Kell Classic. It continues with our drive for the GHSA state title. And it concludes here just before we ring in the new year with our Georgia Elite Classic. We are so proud to be a part of your high school football life. And so enjoy the winter, enjoy the off season, and we will certainly look forward to being back talking to you about football again very soon. Thanks for tuning in tonight to the Georgia Elite Classic, and we'll see you again next time for high school football, hopefully sooner rather than later, right here on Peachtree TV.